Oh shit! I got it.
Oh man, it's in my face. Oh,
This feels weird.
It does feel weird.
No,
it feels weird in a good way, doesn't it?
Better.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel weird to me,
What's
baby.
gonna feel even weirder is when we all have COVID.
Yes, that's exactly it. And then though, once we all have
One person
COVID,
won't have COVID.
once we all have COVID, we
We'll
can
be
all
able
have
to get right
podcasts
back.
all
We'll get
over.
right back at Those who make it will be.
Only one of us is going to die.
That much stronger.
I know it's me. It's
Now, there you
okay.
go.
You're not 70 yet.
Oh, yeah, I am. I turned 70 last weekend. Oh.
You look at. I turned 21 in prison, doing life without parole.
70, it should be 72, but I was sick
Not
for 2
alive,
years.
I'm alive. I'm alive.
So, guys, welcome back to the Cleveland Moto podcast.
I'm so happy to be here.
In the round,
This has regressed.
it really has, right? Well, we have achieved the low standard we were famous for before.
John, are you not plugged in?
John is
That's an auxiliary cord in case
Okay.
anything goes wrong with this cord.
Gotcha.
That's
I can
his
just jack
He's got a
right back.
backup cord.
got a backup cord. If his levels will go dead, Steve's like, and John will just like,
Line two, quick, hit it.
he'll jump the cord back in like no time flat.
He's the most important person.
Well, you know, when it comes to technical information, sometimes we have to go to the Honda Whisperer. Dun dun dun.
He's already fixed this beast tonight.
Right, you guys. So Nick, break it down. To my left is Nick,
Nick Divitto.
and to his left,
Also Nick DeVito.
Oh.
Oh, Chris Smith. Sorry.
and to his left.
Well, I want to say Cam Vanderhorst, but this is Steve Hoffert.
We can make you put on the Harley Davidson hat if
Grumpy
you want
sewer
to.
guy. Grumpy sewer guy.
Grumpy sewer guy.
ESG.
Johnny Mac. Grumpy.
And Sleepy.
Who?
Your humble sound guy.
Yeah, exactly. And your humble narrator, Phil Waters. So we're back. We're around the table. We've decided to exercise some social distancing. No making out between any of you guys.
It's perfectly okay not to look at me when you talk. If you can spit,
Right.
say it, don't spray it.
Mhm.
So good.
But we did.
Totally fine.
We looked at nobody's been sick. Nobody
Right.
has a temperature. Nobody
Nobody's
has
running
a
a fever.
cough. We've all been pretty,
Yep. That's it.
I've got some weeping anal sores. though.
That's exactly right.
Well, that and the state of Ohio seemingly overnight
Weeping
has
anal sores is a
decided
problem.
that COVID is over.
Yeah.
Yes.
So everything's
Yeah.
open.
We are still at the
COVID
shop.
is over.
COVID is
That's
over.
always a good phrase.
So over COVID.
They did that in Florida a couple weeks ago.
They did, and the numbers just
Yeah.
I'm dying.
COVID said, fuck you.
I'm still here.
Yeah, I got you.
The funny thing is, at the shop, we're still maintaining our principles at the shop. So when you come in, we have masks, we have hand sanitizer.
And you better buy a fucking bike
John was nice enough to donate 100 masks for us, which was super cool.
that he found out on I-90. And
He upcycled them.
He scraped all the blood.
I'm wearing that.
and other
That's all I can
things.
say.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good market.
yeah, but you're not wearing them correctly.
Oh, show me. Here, take my used mask and put
All
it
right,
on.
put that on. So that's fantastic. We do have news, and that is, as of just a couple of days ago, it has been announced that the AMA Vintage Days will in fact be cancel-poned. I don't know what date they're planning on putting it, but I think that for legal reasons, we can never say things are canceled these days.
They're
We have
moving
to
it to
say that.
Wasion.
Postponed, yeah, it's being postponed.
Postponed to 2021.
Well, somebody
Exactly.
also pointed out, Bruce, that they came out with the announcement literally 2 days before the state actually came out and said that they were going to allow some sporting events and,
Right.
and other bigger events. So, who
It
knows?
sounds like July 15th is the magic number, so that up until July 15th, the ruling is as the ruling stands, and anything that will happen after July 15th will be decided upon July 15th. So right now, no AMA Vintage Days. Now, that's no longer conjecture, that's printed, that's there. There will not be an AMA Vintage Days this year, the weekend after 4th of July.
And remember, this isn't because the COVID went away. This is because we believe at the current levels, COVID will not overrun our medical system and people won't die in mass numbers
Exactly right.
because they won't be able to receive treatment.
Correct. That's and that's a really good point to bring up. Nobody's celebrating the death of COVID-19. What we're saying, though, is our healthcare system is now adapted to the point where hopefully we won't experience a massive surge that will throw our hospitals into a state of chaos and people will die unnecessarily.
But you don't know
Well,
yet.
I think the other part
Exactly.
is that Mansfield only has one respirator.
Oh, for the
And-
entire
and-
Mansfield.
Yeah, and they're actually using it out on a pig farm right now.
They have one respirator. They have to share it 19 ways. Yeah, that's
Feed
exactly
off.
it. Yeah. Take a huff, pass it down. Take a huff, pass it down. Everyone just stays tubed. You just real quick
I've seen
jump on.
diving movies like that.
Yes, exactly. One SCBA works for
I feel
everybody.
like with a bunch of PVC pipe, we could solve this problem.
Well,
Everybody
again,
just needs to convert. You 3D printer guys just need
Yeah.
to convert CPAPs
Right.
with a little bypass valve that lets you. It pumps you up and then it blows off.
Right.
Basically, like a turbo, like a
Turbo. That's my wastegate. Yep, that's it.
And you heard it here.
We heard it. Better living through Cleveland Moto Podcast.
I don't need a penny for that idea.
That's a tech tip.
Because the exhaust go woo woo.
Yeah.
You guys remember that?
Oh yeah, whistle tips. Just Google or YouTube whistle tips. That's all you need to know.
Use a
was
data
that-
girl by the name of Whistle Tits.
She could only point certain ways in a stiff wind. Otherwise,
But how popular she was.
yeah,
And she never got hit by a deer on the
No.
street, so it worked out great.
they were tuned just right. Yeah, I got those elephant whistles on my motorcycle. They work great.
I have to see this for myself.
That's right. So, if you guys have been paying attention to news stories and whatnot, we're not going to bore you with that, but we had a protest here in Cleveland, right here in the lovely 1st District, that was such a successful protest.
Dun, 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 dun. How successful
How
was it?
successful?
Thank you. God damn, these guys are out of shape. So, what had happened is it started at the 1st District Police Station down here, and
10 miles away? 5 miles away?
not even. I mean, it's 30 blocks. So-
I have it from good authority that the total miles covered was slightly less than
A marathon, the Boston
Nick's pushing of the motorcycle.
Marathon.
So
Which
it
was
came
7
in at-
miles.
they're estimating about 6.25.
So what had
miles.
happened for our podcast
Was it in the
listeners
rain?
is they started the protest, and I went down there on scooters. So we had kept hearing our mailman, who's a hub of news, advice, and data in our neighborhood. The mailman came in and said, "Hey guys, just letting you know, there's going to be a protest here, 1st District. They decided they wanted to do camps corners in 1st District because a lot of cops and firefighters live here."
What time was that?
This we got the news at about 2 p.m.
3, it was supposed to take off at 3
Right.
and end by like 5. But
Well, we got the news at 2 p.m. So
Now,
I
wait a minute. Was that
immediately.
about the time the mailman came out of the bar?
Yeah, that's it. Well, we are right after that stop. So he gave us the heads up, and I immediately jumped on the scooter and sally forth, and I fucked off down to 1st District, where I found the softest police line I'd ever seen in my life. I mean, it was a super soft police line. The Kawasaki KLRs were akimbo. There was a wooden sawhorse, ×2, blocking all of West 130th Street, which is a major artery. And then on one of the side streets, that West Street that's over there, that's Little Caesars Street, if anybody wonders, that's where Little Caesars is. They had blocked that off with another 2 wooden sawhorses and a couple of Harley Davidsons. And then the other side, 130th, they had blocked off with a couple more KLRs. Now, 1st District Police Station is a building that's about 28 feet tall, maybe 30 feet tall. And I looked up at the top of the roof line of the police station, and there was a whole lot of guys in black at the top, what we like to call in the industry a tactical high point. And then there were a bunch of officers out front, and there were just a smattering of protestery types wandering into that vicinity. And everybody was super happy and cool.
it looked like they had a barrier gate too.
They did?
They were halfway across the street. You couldn't really get
Yep.
close to the building.
They did a really nice job of kind of keeping their distance and keeping their space.
And they had the National Guard Humvee
Yeah.
and the tactical SWAT vehicle, which
Right.
I've never worked on that one, but displayed in the driveway.
Mhm.
Like, hey, check it out.
Now, right next door to 1st District Police Department, like 27 feet away,
Yes.
is a cell phone store.
Good picture of that.
And the 2 dudes who ran the cell phone store were out there with Mossberg 500 hunting, like duck guns.
No. One had an AR with a
Oh,
drum
sorry.
on it.
Yeah. The one guy had an AR. So one guy had an AR, and the other guy
King
had
was selling those for
who?
Rural King
Rural King, yeah.
was selling rotary magazines for AR-15s,
Yeah.
100-round magazines
Yeah.
for like $50.
Wow.
Rural King does not sponsor this episode.
No, that is right.
No, I'm just saying that
We're not saying you should shop at Rural King, but we're saying if you want a 100-round AR-15
rotary
5.56
magazine.
rotary magazine, that they're around $50 at Rural King.
There
And
was
mention Steve Hoffert's name.
And get 2 free chicks.
Two free
There was
chickens.
during the protest, the Corbo's guys, the
Yeah.
Corbo's Bakery,
Yeah.
they got their front window broken, and being the Italian Americans that they are,
They were gunned up.
they
Yeah.
were gunned
Go ahead,
to
John.
teeth.
You will.
I sent you all a picture.
Okay, you sent us all a picture.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So so they were gunned up just in the front doorway, no barricades necessary, and the protest went very well. And the protesters objected to the gunners. So the protesters objected to the snipers, and one of our Cleveland police, I think he was a lieutenant or captain,
I
commander.
think he's a commander.
He came out and he crossed the barricade and he sat down with the folks and really had a good chat in the Little Caesars parking lot. And you know what? Words were spoken. Everybody was cool.
Knees were taken, I think.
The knees were taken. And the protesters were thrilled. And then they said, all right, guys, would you like to go on a march? And the protesters said,
Nah.
fuck yeah, that's why we're here. We want to march. And the police said, we got our marching boots on. So the police proceeded to march these guys through
Can I add a
the...
sound effect?
What's that? Go ahead.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah. Well, it was not quite that.
I hear
That
what you're
was Steve
saying,
Hoffert.
but
There's no bridge too far, but it is kind of a good thing that they marched them into the western, the hinterlands of Cleveland, and then they turned around when they got to like that Taco Bell at like West Boulevard 105th kind of thing. They got some water. They stopped there for water, and the cops watered all the protesters without fire hoses. So that the British and the Irish guys didn't know what to do with that. And it was like, you mean a bottle of water? I'm expecting 250 psi. So they gave them all water. They rehydrated.
BHP.
It was a hot day.
I got a story about that, but go
It was a
ahead.
hot day, and then they marched them back. And then when they got back to the police shop, the first district, they said, well, we still want to march. And they said, well, where would you like to march? And they said, let's march to the Lakewood police station. And at which point, anybody who knows geography in Cleveland
That's
and
a long
politics
walk.
in Cleveland knows, one, that's a long walk, and two, Lakewood doesn't cotton to that shit. Like, Lakewood has a policy, like a very small tolerance to shenanigans. Lakewood generally does not give you any sort of courtesy.
They go with the bird show, where they pepper you up a little.
Lakewood has always been a very safe community in which to live because you know that your law enforcement is doing a very good job and has established a reputation of keeping the city safe.
And make no mistake, Lakewood values diversity. and
Absolutely,
inclusion,
above all.
And it's, what is it, ranked number 2 for...
Population density, number 2 outside of Chicago.
Right.
Plus,
So-
they speak 57 different dialects in the schools.
Yes,
It's
right.
Well,
not...
Steve Hoffert lives
Right.
there.
Lakewood is not.
It's not that
I
they're
love Lakewood.
not welcoming
No.
to diversity. It's
No, they're
that-
totally welcoming to diversity. My wife's a school principal in Lakewood, and they are a very, very inclusive city, but they have always been known for being like, don't get pulled over in Lakewood.
I say they, I mean we.
Right, exactly.
No,
And-
you don't. I mean, you can do.
My business
it's
is there
very
for years.
diverse.
Yeah.
Don't fuck around there.
Exactly. And our relationship with the law enforcement in Lakewood was always solid gold. Anytime we had a problem, those guys were there in 9 seconds and always took care of it. So that was great.
The
Then-
problem was Lakewood only had 2 cars on duty.
in that zone. Yeah, so in that zone that they were walking through, Lakewood had not staffed up for this. So Cleveland basically said, well, if nobody has a problem with this, does Lakewood mind if the Cleveland police officers escort this march? And they didn't.
Oh,
And it was
absolutely not.
great.
They train together all the time.
They
in
do.
fact, Lakewood shoots at their range and
Yeah.
stuff. And from my standpoint, radios, there's interoperability is not a problem.
No, I was impressed as hell. So these police officers on bicycles in full riot gear on bicycle, that's weird. But yeah, they did.
Very effective.
Holy crap. These guys literally protected these guys, and apparently there were some, I believe the police dispatch, there's a thing called Cleveland 911 or Cleveland Scanner, Northeast Ohio Scanner,
Sure.
Twitter account. And the person who does the Northeast Ohio Scanner Twitter account said there were some chuckleheads at the back of the pack trying to incite violence and trying to incite or instigate and elevate and escalate. And the protesters within the group kept shutting them down. I saying, no, that's not what we want. We don't want to become criminals. We want to get our voices heard.
You wanna go smash a window out of a car?
Right.
Go right ahead. There's there's police officers right here. You want to tell me to do it?
fuck
Go
you.
fuck yourself.
Exactly.
Well,
Leave.
and I think you saw that a lot. Like, there's like a lot of videos circulating where
Mhm.
you have people that really had a point to get across, and they were not having these assholes coming
Right.
in and fucking shit up.
So
They're like, this is such a deep moment, and you're gonna fucking break a window.
right.
Yeah, you know?
Exactly. We could actually make a move here,
Yeah.
and you're going to devalue it. So here's one of the things I thought was interesting. When I got there in the beginning, and I saw some gentlemen with backpacks and whatnot wandering into the site, they parked on West, and I kind of seen them parking, and I noticed that their car had Hamilton County plates on it.
Where is that?
Cincinnati.
Ah,
That's an import.
yeah.
So 3 gentlemen got out of the car, and I said, "Hey guys, just want to let you know we have people that live here in this neighborhood. We have businesses that live here in this neighborhood, and we really want to support our neighborhood and protect our neighborhood. So we really don't want anybody from out of town coming into our neighborhood and breaking things that don't belong to them."
So we don't have to break your car. Go
Right,
home.
and I said, so just so you know that I know that you came out of that car and that property is probably valuable to you. So today you're going to be on your very best behavior. And the guy on the scooter told him that, wearing the ClevelandMoto shirt. And they were like, no, it's cool. We're just here to march, man. We're just here to march. And I said, cool, let's keep it that way. And let's remind all of our other friends about that too. Because we will not be tolerating this being made into an example. Because it got way out of control in way too many cities, and they lost their message.
Right? I couldn't go get a beer last week.
Our city got put on lockdown for what, 4 days? 3 or 4 days?
Until Phil on lockdown.
I mean, yeah.
Wait, it's
So-
not
Steve had the
right?
Curfew's
the
open.
shakes for how long?
Well,
Because I don't know if
but
I can get
DTs?
home
I
without.
think they're still controlling downtown.
Are they really?
No,
Yeah,
no, they,
Can I
they
go through
lifted
it,
it this
though?
morning.
Sorry. I
No,
didn't
they
know.
did lift it this morning.
Okay, so I can go home, right?
You can go to the Hansa.
Nice. Yeah.
Well, wait, but Chris won't be there.
You don't know.
His
Maybe
brother
I
probably
will be.
still is though.
Yeah.
So I was very impressed with the way it was handled, and also the media coverage was excellent, showing the police officers and showing the protesters. Right, you don't have to love each other. That's not the point. We're not trying to say that, yeah, you should hug a cop. That's not the point. What we're trying to say is the protesters were absolutely able to have their march. They went fucking everywhere, and they went to the Lakewood Police Department. They went all the way down by our old shop. So they went all the way to Plank Road.
Wow.
And that was the Orange Julius there is where the Dairy Queen is kind of where they wrapped it up, and everybody, they spent 8 minutes and 46 odd seconds
It was Lauderdale.
of silence. Yep. And they did all that, and everybody, I think, sent a message, and I really am fucking impressed that it didn't turn into an excuse to break some windows.
The
or to
Lakewood
steal some
cops
shit.
had Detroit shut down
Yeah.
at the Y.
Okay, that
You
makes
couldn't-
sense.
You couldn't go east
Right.
on Detroit from the Y.
Wow. Yeah.
You
And how
couldn't
far
go
down
west.
that? Yeah, from where? They had it shut down
It's
to
like a
what?
few blocks down from
140?
from Dairy Queen, but they had that whole road shut down.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't go east, you couldn't go west from the Y.
Wow.
There was a great worry that they
Damn
would end
YMCA.
up spilling out onto I-90. So when they went down 117,
Okay, that makes sense.
from what I'm getting from the officers that I interact with, is that was a no bueno that they turned them at that point. They're like, no, you're not going to do that.
Really? Okay. Yeah, there you go. Chris?
So I had to call Johnny Mack yesterday because I was on Lorraine Road going eastbound from 44th down to 28th, which is, of course, where the Hansa Brewing Company is. And I saw something I'd never seen below or before on the Cleveland City streets.
Mhm.
And I had to call John. So what the hell are these things? So go ahead, John. Tell me.
Well, I don't know. The city, back for the RNC, was bequeathed through federal funds. They got some UTVs or side-by-side. So they're
Okay.
kitted out. And I don't even know. I have never worked on it because they don't have a mobile radio in them. When they're operating these, they're just using their portables and stuff like
Right.
that. But it's supposed to be for a fast reaction, 4 guys, 2 guys in front, 2 guys in back. And it's a little bit more nimble than a cop car, and it can go up over curbs and stuff a little better. But what the actual use for them is probably, I don't know. It's kind of like a Kawasaki KLR in the military.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting notion and idea, and it probably gives them some capability, like in an outdoor setting, like if they had to react to something down at Edgewater or something like that.
Mhm.
But you say they were heading at not 50 mile an hour
Yeah,
down Lorraine Road.
there's 6 of them going about 50
Wow.
westbound on Lorraine Road.
Really?
Yeah, and screaming like
Hammer down.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they probably were like, "Ooh, it's an occasion to dust these things off and get them out." I can only imagine I don't know who cleaned the carb and put new batteries in it.
Nobody.
There was
Nobody.
I'm like,
I was
what
gonna
is
say, it was the Italian tune-up.
it? Yeah, I don't
Okay.
know. Because I don't know remember when the last time those saw the light of day.
They're pretty cool. They had their lights on. They had
Yeah.
screaming sirens and everything. And I thought, holy
See, those
shit!
those came package built, so like they bought actual police versions of them, so we didn't have to upfit them with lights and sirens and stuff, and they didn't get mobile radio. So
They
I have
showed
to
up that way.
touch. Now the KLRs, those came through our shop, and we had to upfit them with lights and sirens and
Paint
radios
them black.
and stuff like
They can
that.
look intimidating.
Actually, they didn't even get radios. On the KLRs, they have they use their portable, and then
Yeah.
they have a wireless dongle that connects to their helmet.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. All right, so Nick, what did you bring tonight for party favors?
I brought a mini bike.
You certainly did bring a mini bike.
I love this thing.
It's a I don't know what year it is, but it's a Suzuki Trailhopper.
It is a trail hopper.
But it's no longer an MT50.
No, it doesn't look like an MT50, and it certainly doesn't sound like an MT50.
It is now.
Yeah.
I'm calling it an MT90.
An MT90.
Wow.
Empty promises.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So, are you going to be able to get the gas tank cover back on there at some point?
Eventually.
Because
I'm
that's a
gonna-
very prominent part
I know,
of an
I know.
MT.
I'm gonna have to cut it quite a bit. It's very cracked.
Okay.
Good, so you have a good donor. You're not
exactly.
cutting up a good one.
Exactly. I don't feel bad at all about cutting this thing up.
Are you going to be able to
You need
retain
earrings
the look
tires.
of the 3 black holes? Like the
On one side,
on one, that's all we need. It just has to look good from one
It
side.
really does only need
because
that.
the other side is dominated by an expansion chamber.
Mhm.
Dude, we should just make one. We should just like make a mold. And
You
make
might be
it-
better because on the original bike, isn't that there's a cutout on this side, not that side or something. Because the original exhaust went down this side. didn't it?
Right.
So the cutout for the exhaust is on the good side now. You almost have to make one. Not just
I
do a-
know.
Do
Yeah.
a phony one. Get a
Just some
stop sign.
cardboard.
Stop sign.
Oh, stop sign.
Mm,
Cut
that's
it
a
out
good
of
idea.
aluminum.
Yeah,
I approve of the
Fold
stop
it over
sign.
that. Paint it.
that's not a bad idea.
Done deal.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
But right
Get
now,
cracking.
I'm not super worried about cosmetics. Obviously,
I like
The
it.
clutch was a little stiff. I think you should work on it.
I need a new clutch cable, and I have in my eBay shopping cart right now. I have clutch plate, friction plates.
You guys want to check out the monitor? That's what we're talking about.
There we go.
So up on the monitor, we can see the 3 portholes on the side of the body.
It's a very weird looking motorcycle.
It is a weird looking little
It,
motorcycle.
it looks like
It kind
a
of looks like a grasshopper.
Yeah.
It's a trail hopper.
Yeah.
but
It really
kinda
does.
has a grasshopper.
Yep.
Yeah, it does.
so on that side. You can see on the right side. You can see that white part is an oil tank.
Oil
cover.
tank cover.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
Yep, which I don't have. Those are very expensive and impossible to find.
Because they got kicked into
Yes.
submission.
Yes, and they were originally
Real
made of ABS plastic.
Is
and
the
they,
seat adjustable?
yes, it goes up and down. There's 3 positions. Yep.
There's put in the car,
Come on, Hoff.
short rider, and taller rider.
Yep, there's a knob right there. Yep, you got that. And even with the current exhaust modifications,
Which
the
are
seat,
substantial.
the seat does still go to its lowest position.
Huh?
It might melt if you
Might melt.
run it.
Oh, I'm
that way.
certain it'll melt. Yeah.
Keep going. Pull it all the way out. All the way out. There you go. There, you
It's a
can see the
linchpin.
3 holes there. Yep.
All the way out.
There you go.
Yeah, there you
sound-
go.
It's basically a bicycle.
Thank you, Vanna.
Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, when you look at the green one really does look like a grasshopper.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's just no doubt about it. When you see the green one, you're like, that's
Nick,
totally a
if
grasshopper.
you had the green one, we'd make you wear a set of grasshopper wings.
That's
yeah.
why it's painted orange.
Yeah.
Nick will be buying the green one.
Yes, exactly.
I do like in the headlight. It actually has the Suzuki S in the glass.
Yes.
That's pretty
that's
that
made
is
by-
that headlight. Look at the shape of that headlight.
Oh yeah.
Good luck finding those. That's not something.
I
that's
went through, before
models.
Dixie went out of business,
Yeah.
and I was going through all the stacks at Dixie, I found about 300 of those headlights.
Really?
Yeah.
How
So
many do you have left?
whoever bought them
Yeah.
got a lot of those
A lot of
tombstone
unobtainium.
Punisher-shaped headlights. Yeah.
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 But the thing that is very fortunate about those headlights is
Yeah.
it's not a sealed beam
Right.
headlight.
So you can-
It's got an actual bulb that you can remove.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank
Right.
God.
So right now I have an LED in there. It's not hooked up to anything yet, but I'm working on. I have a Chinesium voltage regulator on there. So I've got plans for this thing.
One of the guys in my Jedi Knight Scooter Club has a racing Lambret, and it's called the Slaying Mantis. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Because it looks like a bug. Yeah, there's just not much Lambretta left on it. So yeah, it's super. I mean, that's super cool. I'm glad that you brought that. That's great.
Well, I don't know if I mentioned that currently it has an RV90 engine. So it's 90 cc. It's still a 2-stroke.
You didn't turn it into a 4-stroke?
I did not turn it. I could have easily slapped a Piranha 4-stroke on there, but
yeah. No, it's better to keep it original. Keep it.
It's kind of weird that way.
I agree.
Smelly and fun.
Yeah,
Nick's got cool stuff.
He
I must
does.
say.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I like Nick's stuff.
Nick
How you doing,
has.
Nick?
Yeah, and now, so you're.
That's a Hoffert shout out right there, baby.
Well, Nick makes a lot of fun stuff. So your company's called Obscura.
Moto Obscura.
Yep. Right. And I noticed that. So in addition to you've made some Vespa parts.
Yep.
Which are cool. The turn signal mounts.
Yep.
You've done those. What do you? And it looked like you were making some car parts too, right?
I was making some Fiat parts.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Vintage Fiat parts. So 124 Spider or Fiat 850. Basically, what happens is if I buy a project car,
Right.
I start making parts for it.
Exactly.
And from there, it just gets out of control.
Which is absolutely perfect. Yep. Yeah, I thought you guys would like this. I don't know if anybody remembers this, but long ago in year of our Lord 2015, KTM said they were going to produce a scooter called the E-Speed, and this was the KTM E-Speed scooter. And in the spirit of that slaying mantis or praying mantis kind of stuff, it does look like a KTM 390 Duke crashed into a scooter. Yeah, because all the vents that are normally up on the gas tank on the KTM are now at the back.
Right.
KTM really has to work on their branding because you can't tell what
You
kind
can
of
never
bike
tell
it
what
is.
it is,
No,
right? I mean, you just see in the KTM, it could be anything. It could be a Yamaha, it could be a Suzuki.
I gotta say though, I'm
gas powered.
I'm a big
or
fan. Oh yeah, that's a good point.
I think that's electric.
Electric.
Yeah.
Woogie, woogie, woogie.
I'm a big
They're
fan.
playing it's 15 horsepower.
I'm a big fan of trellis frames.
Yeah.
And that's the only scooter I've ever seen that has a trellis frame.
Wait, one.
No, the
Oh,
jet, the
boy.
Italia jet.
Here you go. Now, there you go. Just
Italian
exactly. All right. I'll bring up one for you. When you get into the scooter world in general, just like what scooters are and what scooters have been, there's just
I've wanted one of these for fucking 10
Wow.
years,
What is it?
man.
it's an Italjet dragster, so it's a Piaggio 2-stroke, 125, 180 or 50. So you can get it in 3 versions: 50 cc, a 125, and a 180. They're all 2-strokes, and then they later on produced it in a 4-stroke. But Italjet was selling them in the United States through a somewhat disreputable distributor. Sorry, if I read you the wrong way, but most of them came in broken in the boxes and nobody got their parts. So this was a thing that we were a part of before I opened this shop, and we were importing these things. And we got a lot of the ones in the red and black livery, and we got a lot of the ones in the orange and yellow livery. And then there was an orange livery as well. So these blue ones, you see up there in the top left, these blue ones were by far the most common. Blue with the silver frame.
Wait, what's that going to the front wheel there?
That is a hub center steering assembly.
Wow.
So the
Wow.
Italjet Dragster had a 2-stroke CVT transmission that was common to Piaggio. So the Piaggio Hexagon scooter had the same drivetrain. It wasn't anything unique. The magic was in the front of the bike. And we had a few guys in our racing organization that did race these, we would take these Italjet Dragsters out on the track. They did feel kind of weird. They didn't catch on, I don't think.
So did the steering shaft go down like this?
No, the steering shaft, if you look, it actually goes backwards. So
That's what I'm saying. It's like
yeah.
it went back at
Yeah,
an
it
angle,
goes
and then that
backwards.
whole front
Yeah, I
suspension
want to get a
flew.
picture of a naked one here for
There's
you.
got to be
There you
hind
go.
joints involved.
Yeah, take a
Yep.
look at this thing. I'm going to go ahead and open this up for you.
That's a lot of air.
That is a lot of air in there. So when you take a look at the Italjet Dragster, there really is, it's a very strange thing. The problem is I'm too big for it. And I just couldn't make it work. So I bought a Gilera Runner instead, which is the same drivetrain, different forks. And the Italjet Dragster was really an interesting science project. And
I drove to Cuyahoga Falls to buy one.
Yeah.
With cash in hand, the guy's like, "I'll have it for you here." It has 325 miles on it. This is like 5 years ago.
yeah.
And I got there, and some dude was putting it in his truck. And I'm like, "What the fuck, man?" I'm like, "I just drove all the way out here." He's like, "Well, I had 3 of you guys. I wasn't sure if anybody was serious." So whoever, and I couldn't fault the guy, but I was also like,
No, you got to fault him because
fuck
you need to go in order.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And if you're an honest salesperson,
Or just better yet, look, one of you is going to give me a deposit. That's the guy who's going to get it.
Well, I called. I was like, I offered. I was like, I'll PayPal you. I'm like, I have cash.
You're
I
right.
can
That's,
make
the,
this
that's the
happen.
problem with all Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. It's like you can say, yeah, I'm going to be there at this time, but
Right.
I've still had times where people sell it out from under
Yeah,
me.
but I was texting this guy and keeping up on it. It wasn't like this a no-show and I just showed up. I'm like, all right, I'm leaving in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like when I sold my Grim, like I told the guy, like I sent a picture of it in the trailer, like,
Right.
all right, dude, it's coming. I'm like leaving. It's 8:30 in the morning. Like you got
Let
nothing
there be
on.
no doubt. This
Yeah.
is going to happen.
is it still for sale?
No, it's gone. That's why I bought the green one.
No, I'm saying the person who bought it, then you say put it right back up for sale.
No. The dude, like I showed up and some other dude was loading it in his trailer.
No, I'm saying your Grim.
Oh, no.
No, he fucking chopped it up. He made it into a fucking stretch
Oh.
thing. And
Oh, okay.
Good
Yeah.
for him.
But here's the, you know what?
Way to leave well enough alone.
Well, I was making fun of all the stretch guys,
Good for
right?
her.
I was like, those look stupid. Like, it looks like a Hayabusa, but it has like 7 horsepower, right? But I realized that the TNT is like 7 inches longer than the thing, and so it's kind of stretched, and it rides really good like that. So now I can't make fun of these dudes with the stretched Groms because they're not doing it for wheelies.
No, they're not.
They're doing it
No.
for
Yeah, stretching it wouldn't
rideability.
make it wheelie.
No, it won't.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying it's not going to stop
Right.
it either because it doesn't wheelie.
Right.
Well, I mean, obviously
With certain sport bikes,
My
we
Brom's not
understand
doing a wheelie.
stretching it
Right.
would.
Well, I can if that's all you want to do, and
Right.
go slow.
No, I was looking at my Bandit, and it's also a very long motorcycle for what it is.
Mhm.
Right. I think it
And that was
does.
to make it human sized.
Steve, you want to know why? Steve, you want to know why your XL 500 would do wheelies and stuff like that?
Short
No,
wheelbase?
because if you look at an XL
They're
500,
really short.
you're literally almost sitting on the back wheel.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
take much. Like,
The
those
pivot-
old dirt bikes were like,
Yeah, the pivot for the swing arm on those
Yeah,
XLs
something
is like where your feet are.
Yeah.
It's almost an impossible design. Yeah. It's a really.
I love that bike.
You love all bikes.
I
It's
do.
true. He does.
I love the bike.
Steve-
He always wants whatever bike he sees.
Steve's favorite saying is, "I love that."
I love that bike.
By the way,
That's my
how
favorite
are
bike.
the tire squeaks picking up on the microphone? Is that
I haven't heard anything.
It adds to garage authenticity.
right?
those
Right, 'cause-
tires look like they're aired up to mud terrain,
Yeah.
mud
Yeah,
sand.
they have slow leaks. I filled them up
Especially-
about 2 weeks ago.
Mm,
And I weigh 100 pounds more than you.
yeah.
Well,
That's true.
At least.
But those are tubes, right?
Yeah,
Or
those are
tubes.
tubes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hmm.
Slow leaks become fast leaks super fast in the
It's
tube.
weird. Like though, you can buy some. How cheap were the tubes? Were they good tubes or just?
I don't know. I
They were
haven't
the
bought them
tubes
yet.
that were around.
It seems like there's tubes that just like you put them in, and for whatever reason,
They just
Peggy on Peggy's bicycle, like she got, and the kid who helped us put them on, like I was like, I could put them on. He's like, no, I do this. Okay, neighbor kid,
Where you go, neighbor? I'm glad you do this.
go ahead.
Yeah.
He's like, these are gonna leak. You're always gonna have to air them up, and I'm like, because something about the rubber. It was like butyl rubber or something.
You know
Okay.
what? That's interesting because I work for a company that makes tube fittings.
Mhm.
What?
And you wanna believe that tube fittings don't leak.
Right.
And we make the best tube fittings in the world. So
Go
my
ahead.
company says
Okay,
Right.
they're
So,
made in USA. They
Right.
must be true.
you work
So-
for them, so you're a paid spokesperson.
Exactly.
Right.
But I will tell you, all tube fittings leak. Every single one. Doesn't
Makes
matter
sense. Leaks.
what method, it all leaks.
Everything leaks.
Everything
Right.
leaks.
There
It
you
all
go.
floats down here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Besides, my saying isn't that. My saying is my favorite bike is the one I'm
The
riding.
one he's on. Yeah.
I like riding. I don't care about
I think
the bike.
I think your favorite saying is the next one's the best one.
Oh yeah. There you
That's my
the way you go
saying.
through bikes, you go through bikes with the frequency of a cheap ham radio.
go.
Well, currently, Steve's favorite bike is a 1970s Suzuki Trailhopper with an
Right.
RV90 engine.
That's
Are you
true.
gonna buy it, Steve?
And 15 minutes ago it was the TNT 135.
That's true.
which you
That is
wanted.
very
And,
true.
and then I like that 302 over there.
Are you gonna buy it,
Right.
Steve?
You-
Yeah, I like
Well,
that. Especially like the trans out back there.
yeah.
Are you gonna
I mean,
buy it,
it's
Steve?
still-
Did you
you
do an
are-
intervention here?
Like
Yeah.
you know, I need the matching.
Right. The matching adult size
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah. The little hoss and big hoss.
yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly it. So yeah, we've
I
got.
did buy 3 bikes in the last.
Wait, are you talking
2
about the
weeks.
Tenere 700?
What's that?
Are you talking about the Tenere 700?
I'd like that too, but I want this.
Oh, you want the 40, the 502 or
The 302S. Yeah. the
I would
302S.
love. I was going to ask you, what's going on with the adventure bike, the Benelli adventure bike?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it yet.
Well, no, it's out. It's out everywhere
It's not
else.
here.
But that's it. So
Right.
I wanted to know if you could get them.
Right. Not yet. No.
Because after the
Have you tried?
No.
Can you try harder?
Exactly. I'm sorry, you haven't tried hard enough yet. Yeah.
No, but the quality of these fucking Benellis are so
It's
good.
so good. You
Yeah.
can pull up on the screen here. There it is.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah, that thing. You got that thing. So,
Beak.
yeah. Oh, it's got a hell of a schnabel on it. That
Hell of a
thing's
beak.
all schnabel.
The 502 high output.
Yeah.
Gold Rush. That's the Gold Rush
That
bike.
is the Gold Rush bike.
30% of that
Schnabel.
bike's length is schnabel.
Is beak. Yeah, that's exactly right. It is all schnabel. Yeah, they have a really good line from the tip of the schnabel to the top of the gas tank. Yeah. It does. It has a serious. Yeah.
Look at the very tip too. It's like an eagle.
Oh, it's got a little extra tip
Yeah.
on the end.
The
It's
tip,
just
the
got
tip,
a
the
little-
tip of the bike.
tear
The tip-
flesh.
the tip
Oh,
of
it
the
does.
bike.
It
Oh, yeah.
really
You know,
does.
when a chick is hatched, since I've hatched many chicks,
Right.
Here we
they
go.
have a little
The farm report.
That's
right.
true. It's
They have-
to break
it's called
through
a-
the
it's
to
called
break through
an
the
egg
shell.
tooth.
That's right. An egg tooth.
And that's what they use to pierce the shell.
Yep.
And that looks exactly like an egg tooth.
Well, I
Will
think
that
we
wear
know what
off
it is.
over time?
Once
Well,
it
it
gets out of the
does.
shell.
On a chicken it does, but I don't know about
Will
on
it
that
round
bike.
off a little bit?
I think so.
There it is in living color right there.
Egg
Wow. Look, I'm
Does
telling
everything
you right
too.
now, of all of the bikes that are
Speed
out
its way
there,
out.
it's not. There's nothing wrong with it. It
Here's the
looks
thing,
like
though.
all of them.
Here's the thing, though. It's
Yeah.
got a trellis frame,
Right.
so I'm sold.
Okay. All right. That's
No,
true.
I'm serious. I like the TNT 135.
It's the same motor-
so much.
Yeah, it's in the same motor that's in the 302. It's just a punched out. It's a
Okay.
bigger, bigger top end, I believe.
How much does it weigh?
It's a twin.
I don't know how much it
Well, I
weighs.
think
I'm gonna
it's-
try to carry it across the fence.
It's not. It's not
It weighs
like
too much. That's what everybody
It's
weighs.
almost 500 pounds. I think it's like 490
Oh.
or 500 pounds.
Yeah.
It weighs 50 pounds more than a FT 500.
Oh well. Yeah. There you go.
But look at the back swing arm. I mean, it's a nice looking bike, man.
If you're into that sort of
Oh, the
thing.
soothsayer.
Oh, you need a hug. I'd hug you, but you might have to go.
water on
The
everything.
guy who's going to buy a Janus tomorrow.
Oh,
Good segue.
A Janus.
Not the J.
Which
He's trying to slap me back.
Are you
which
gonna buy
Janus
a
are you trying to
Janus?
buy? Which model?
I'm going to go test drive one. So let's
Okay.
put it in
Well,
perspective.
which one of those? Are you,
Which one are you gonna buy?
which one do you like the best?
I'm going to test drive the Halcyon.
The Halcyon. Okay.
So it's, traditional stance rather than a cafe racer, which
Right.
is their
Yeah.
whatever the fuck it is. And they got
Whatever
everything
the
built.
How many cc's is that?
It's 250.
Okay. Yeah. That's true.
250. So it's a
shit burns up.
GL 250
Right.
motor, Chinese made.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
if you show up before midnight tonight,
If you show up before
Don't
midnight,
do it.
Can you get
No.
them to make your bike without the J?
the extra.
Yeah,
well, they've mentioned your name before. Steve.
Yeah, that's it. They said it is available. So
Yeah,
there's
that's what's going to
there's
be
the
riding.
Janus Halcyon. So there's the Halcyon up there. And
No, they
You know,
removed
and-
Do they have a
and-
military version?
I think it's a cool looking bike. It's kind of a steampunk looking bike.
Are you going to get the this greenish color?
I don't know.
I
I
think
don't know.
you should.
I have a color I'm going to take up there and see if they would do a color.
Can you get them to remove the J and put an arrow pointing to you?
We could just take the J and put it a little
Tough crowd.
You know, we can always rework it, Steve. We can always rework it.
Are you gonna wear aviator goggles?
Oh, you kind of have to, right?
You always have to have fun.
Oh, you need
There's,
those. You'll need gauntlets. You'll
there's
need the
a whole
whole.
rail of anuses. I mean, there's a whole row of J9. I think J9 is the popular.
Well, we'll see. You know, I'm not going to disparage the unit.
I
until
want
get
to-
on tackle one and
Yeah,
give it a run.
I think
and,
that's a smart thing to do.
I've ridden plenty of bikes.
C5.
Well, I'm a big fan of the C5
So this was
too.
a scene from the last drag race.
Yeah. and it came in second.
No, I'm teasing. I honestly, you guys know, if you listen to the podcast, you'll know that I absolutely love what these guys are doing.
So the one on the right, look at that one. He's got leg shields on that.
Yeah.
Go
it's got
around
leg
his,
shield. That's cool.
yeah.
Leg shield.
Yeah.
Fishtail mufflers are cool.
Yeah.
Does it come
You're
with
gonna
bags?
start wearing suspenders.
No, everything's extra.
Right.
Right.
So
Everything's
the
extra.
bags are extra.
The
The
paint's
fishtail,
extra.
Yeah,
Chains
the
extra.
paint, the air and the tires are extra.
but not the decal.
But that
says
look
Janus.
right there. That
Right.
look right there.
So this
It comes-
guy, this guy's name is Tiny. He's 4'3".
That's
And,
an interesting riding position.
It is. Yeah. He's a lanky dude.
You know, that bike
Yeah.
looks exactly like a Bro Superior. I think you should try to race a biplane with it.
Well, you know what's funny though is this.
Well, we're gonna find out tomorrow.
The Janus in this picture is a liquid cool. Look at the jug.
Yeah.
That's a liquid cooled, a little liquid cooled, right? So that's another one right there.
It's
That's
a
liquid
total
cooled.
loss.
Looks like a fitty. Look like a fitty. If you have to ask me, that's a fitty.
Total loss liquid cooling. It just pours it out.
That looks like a rotary. That looks like a rotary induction fitty, 2-stroke.
2-stroke. Yeah.
So they started out as 50s.
Yeah, because that one's got an expansion.
Does it
chamber
get
on
bigger as you
Right.
own it?
It does. You feed it,
Well,
but not
That's
after
what she
midnight.
said.
How do they know what prescription your monocle is?
well, you got to bring that with you.
Yeah, there you go. Biplane not included.
There you go.
Yeah.
But there's
Does
the
it, does it come
biplane.
with a T-set?
Yeah.
There
I
it is.
think that what you should do is nobody should have a Janus that does not have ye olde in front of their name. Yeah.
You know what?
Ye olde.
Honestly, that's a cool looking bike.
It is a cool looking
And I
bike.
It's a
can
very
forgive.
cool
I can
looking bike.
forgive the fact that it's a Chinese engine.
If you
Right.
get an HRD sticker and slap on it, people will be like, "Holy cow, you got a Vincent!"
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Wait, what's the scrambler one? What is that?
Well, probably a bad idea if you ask me.
Oh, you need that.
That
No,
with
I
the
disagree.
Earl's fork.
I like the Earl's fork, but I do not like what's going on with that featherbed style frame.
I like it.
You do?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I kind of like that
Kind of
one.
like that one. All right.
I would ride that
I
very
like the board
slowly.
tracker style. I like the older style board tracker style.
I always
There's a guy-
fancied a Royal Enfield in off-road livery. I thought that way
Yeah.
because it was built like a tractor. It,
Right.
it seemed like it
I
was-
like the 6 days.
I could.
Yeah.
I feel like I could hill climb a Royal Enfield pretty
Yeah.
well.
I do too. I feel like just a lumpy single.
The other day, I was wondering if they made TKC 80s in a size that would fit on the Honda Super Hawk.
Yeah. They'd be
Okay.
very skinny TC.
No,
Those
you
might be
need-
TKC 40s.
Well, you need to get the Scrambler. You get the CL77,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
pretty
Right.
awesome. Won some
Yeah.
Bajas and stuff back
Yeah.
in the day.
Yeah, so super cool. This one has training wheels. Oh no, that's a helmet parked next to it. Never mind.
But there's a guy in Avon Lake that makes these bikes handmade from scratch.
What's
Really?
the name of the website? Let's look it up. Come on.
He doesn't have a website. He does like 10.
Steve.
He's done like 10 bikes.
Really?
Steve,
Yeah, there you go.
come on,
Well,
man.
we'll find
Well,
out.
what are those bikes
Don't
called?
tease us out like that.
Sounds
He's
like he
not
doesn't
called
need a
anything.
website.
You give him a picture and he makes the bike.
All right.
That's
Google
cool.
motorcycle. We'll find it.
Google motorcycle.
We'll find
it. Avon Lake.
We'll find it. No, it just shows a picture of my house. That's all it does. Motorcycle, Avon Lake. Just an overhead shot of me cleaning out my garage. That's it.
Uh-oh.
Ouch.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Check. Am I still plugged in?
No, the
Do
whole
I gotta
thing
go to-
is shut off.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
What'd you do?
pulled this right here. This is. Look at this. Check this out.
I didn't
Where
do
does this-
anything.
No,
Yes,
but
you
your
did.
foot
You
touched
did it all.
Your foot touched it.
Cocksucker talking
Oh,
about
I
the
told
Janus
you.
like that.
Were we recording to begin
We
with?
don't have power.
It's all right. I can put
We
it
will
in
be
power.
saved
got
by
power
the
there. We got
GoPro
power
audio.
No, it's
Good
all
for
right.
there we go.
Oh, well, you just shut it off again.
No, we got power
I
there.
can edit.
All right. Well,
Editing is not enough. It's not
We've seen your editing.
He's a-
Are we rolling again?
We're rolling again.
Okay, good. Go ahead, John.
I don't want to roll that. Well, okay. I hang out with my buddy Eric, and he's an ICU nurse.
Your buddy Tom.
Yeah.
All right.
And if you think me touching your kneecap freaks you out, like Eric will just go down your pants because he's like
He doesn't care.
He washes penises.
It's
for
the
a living.
93rd dick he's touched that day.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
what? You want to play gay? Oh, I'll push you right over that line.
What, no cheese? Weird. Yeah. We took a little time out, guys. We had a little break for technical adjustment and we got salt and vinegar
Sleepy
chips.
kicked the plug out of
Yeah.
the.
And we're back.
All right, and that's exactly it. So, yeah.
And we discovered what kind of chain a GS 1000 has.
Yep. So apparently 632. So 632 is the largest motorcycle chain you can buy.
Okay. I learned something today.
Uh-huh. Yep.
And it has it.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting because what year is that bike?
A 1980.
A 1980?
Yeah.
Because I know when the CB750 first came out, they were concerned about chain wear, so they actually had the big sprocket
Yep.
was a larger base circle than what normally would have had.
It was it was actually an issue on the Sandcast. That's
Yep.
why their Sandcasts are actually kind of particularly rare. Is because I think the original chain came out. It wasn't even a 530 or something like that. And it was throwing the chain and smashing the cases.
Shit.
So a lot of
Really?
the original Sandcasts didn't survive because of that.
Yeah, the GSs all ran a 630 chain. So they all ran a 630. I don't know which motorcycles, maybe one of our podcast listeners will let us know. I'm not sure exactly which motorcycles ran a 632, but the 630 pretty much in the industry, 630 is a big fucking chain.
On the CB750s that are built, like you can bore a CB750 out to a 1000. They actually sell. There's a duplex chain kit.
What?
So it's a duplex chain kit. For
That is not
CB750.
fucking around.
No.
Wow, that is cool,
That's insane.
dude. That's pretty rad.
If you think you're making enough horsepower,
Right.
you put the duplex chain.
Believe it or
That's
not,
fucking-
my Bandit 400 has bigger than a 520. I don't know what exactly.
Probably
size off
530.
the-
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
right. And
pretty common.
You know, looking around, it's like, well, why can't this thing just have a 520? Because modern superbikes have 520.
Absolutely. Yep. And a lot of motorcycles. And chains carry so much weight. When you look at the math behind how much pull or how much a chain can carry, it is ridiculous that anybody would ever break one. But it's not the chain. If a chain is in good repair, yeah, it can handle 800 foot-pounds of torque. But the problem is it's not in good repair. And it's those things, it's those outlying conditions why you have to over-engineer shit.
If a connecting rod snaps in your motor, it's not because the connecting rod was weak to begin with.
No, it's usually not.
because the bearing
Yeah.
on either end of it failed, seized, and it snapped it.
Right.
So if your rollers or your links seize up, it's going to break.
And that's how you end up with all the X rings and all sorts of stuff like that for excuses to not maintain
That's
your
right.
chain.
O-ring and X-ring chains weren't just to make them quieter. It was mostly just to make them somehow try to hang on to lubricant longer so that people could be worse at maintaining their bikes.
The old school thing is clean your chain off really good and boil it in wax.
Yeah.
Melt the candle wax and just soak. I mean, that's.
So don't do that if you have an O-ring or an X-ring chain because the boiling is really bad for the seals.
But I've heard
Does
you
it-
could use like Johnson's wax, right? Or you just like hardwood wax.
Yeah, wax in general.
Yeah.
There is a product that you can buy that is chain wax in a tin, and you actually heat it up, and you dump the chain into the tin.
That
with the
sounds like
wax.
way too much work.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and it's a very old school way to get it's called Wend NF, and it is a straight up. I'll pull it up here so you guys can appreciate it on the Castamatron, but there's Poodleine. If you're a European guy and you like the European way of life, Poodleine does it, and
That looks like Europe.
that was somewhere beautiful.
That sounds like poutine.
Yep.
More
So
Canadian.
Poodleine, and these guys are like Wend and Poodleine are two products that the European guys really believe in, and just melting it down and just putting the chain in it. And so here's a really good picture of it. If you guys want to take a look,
Wow. So
see the
you're
way
just
that works.
Dipping it right in.
Throw it up on your oven and heat it up, and there you go, buddy.
That's a big ass tin.
It is a big ass tin. Isn't that cool?
Then tell Honey you'll be back in 45 minutes.
Right. Well, here's the trick: is anybody who's ever had a paraffin fire or a wax fire on your kitchen stove will know that, or tried to. If you're in the military and you used to kiwi to polish your boots, you'd always heat up the kiwi. Maybe put a little fire on top.
That could never end badly.
That could never end badly. The trick is don't try to blow it out. Just put the lid on. Yeah. Don't even try to blow that shit out. It is going to burn forever.
So my question would be,
Yeah.
would a really heavy chain act like a gyroscope?
Yes, absolutely. And it is a real thing. And that's a chain does have a gyroscopic effect. So when we talk about having which gyroscopes are on your motorcycle, well, of course, your front wheel is a gyroscope, the back wheel is a gyroscope, your crank, if you got a heavy flywheel, is a gyroscope, and your chain is a gyroscope. You grab a good-sized motorcycle chain, that's 9 pounds. So that's 9 pounds of steel, and what is it doing? It's running. And I was a tanker in the Army, and yes, the track on tanks is a gyroscope. As it moves faster, it's getting bigger. It's literally pulling out. And you'll watch a tank moving at high speed, and its idler wheels and everything are completely compressed because the tank track itself.
It's going from this
Yes,
to a circle.
exactly.
It wants to be a circle.
It wants to be a circle. Exactly. So that's a big thing for high-speed operation on the tanks.
I've noticed that on my BB500. When you're going along pretty good, whatever is inside there, the flywheel or the CVT or something, it's a giant gyroscope.
It is.
You can feel that, trying to go straight. when
Yes,
you're
it's trying to go
turn.
straight.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, the bike has many gyroscopes built into it. The good news is they tend to be all oriented in a
Counter
fashion.
shafts, all the shafts, all the gears, everything's a gyroscope.
It is very interesting from a physics standpoint. These dumb things we ride around on.
And from riding with Steve, sometimes when he stands up, he's a gyroscope.
What about a longitudinal engine? that would have less gyroscope, or in the opposite direction.
And it does. So
degrees.
people who've ridden BMWs and Moto Guzzi's for a long time will be to tell you that,
Or CX500s.
or CX500s, CX650s, all of our wrong way motors, they'll tell you that when you crack the throttle and you're sitting still, the whole bike wants to go the opposite way, right? It wants to go, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. But the funny thing is, though, when that bike is in gear and the power is being put to the back tire, it doesn't do that because now that energy is going through the drive shaft out the back tire through the contact patch.
And a lot of engineering goes into countering that out. That's why you normally want to put your clutch on the crankshaft. You put it behind the crankshaft on one of your transmission shafts.
That's right.
So that the crank's going one way
And the clutch is going the other way.
The opposite direction.
Yep. They negate each other, and that's really fucking cool. What year's your concourse, Chris?
It is a 2002.
2, right? Okay. So I do want to I want to shine a little love on Chris's bike, just because. So Chris has had his bike stored with us over the wintertime, and the Kawasaki Concourse is just one of these fucking motorcycles. It's like a PC 800 that it legitimately is a magnificent motorcycle. It was a motorcycle that they got all the parts in the right place at the right time, and they really did nail it. I took your bike out of storage the other day. I pulled it out because you've been riding other bikes.
Right.
You have multiple bikes, and so the Kawasaki just ended up in the warehouse longer than the rest of them. So I go over there, and I get dropped off, and the long and short of it is, pull the bike out of the warehouse. It's been sitting on a battery tender the whole time. It was drained of gas, right? And I go over, I put some Rec 90 in it. So we use at our shop here, we use boat gas. So for any of bikes that have carburetors on them, we routinely go down to the dock and we get 100 gallons at a time of boat gas. And it's fun because docks are totally cool with selling 100 gallons at a time because boats, turns out, are thirsty. And there are very few places around here where you can buy ethanol-free fuel. We're not going to list them. Use ethanol-free gas or realgas.com to find them around you. But if you've got a carbureted motorcycle, really putting modern fuel in it is kind of a bad idea. And getting Rec 90 or boat gas, it's just gas. It has a principal ingredient. The principal ingredient is gasoline.
Still unleaded, though, right?
Yes, still unleaded. Right. No lead added. Right? It's just the way gas is.
Aviation gas is still leaded, though, isn't
So
it?
aviation gas is still leaded, and its octane count is higher, and that's mostly because those Lycoming six-cylinder engines and all those piston-powered motors are built really tight because they have to function at a higher altitude than they do at the ground. And running aviation gas will not make your motorcycle run faster unless you are jetted and timed for it. Because octane is useless if you are not compressed, jetted, and timed for it.
Gotta bump up that compression.
Quite a bit. Yeah, quite a bit. So that's the thing with the avgas.
If you're not running at 12-to-1 compression or higher, you probably don't need high octane.
Not at all.
No.
And
In fact, it'll make you a lot worse.
I actually learned from your brother today, at dinner.
Don't even say that.
No, but so I asked because he had a 1969 a Mustang that was beautiful.
Yeah.
And he has to add the lead stuff, and I said, well, what did that lead stuff do?
It protected your valves.
That's exactly what he said.
It was a valve lubricant. It was a valve seat lubricant. Go ahead. Yeah. So they do sell a lot of aftermarket lead additives. So if you have an older motorcycle that was engineered to run on leaded fuel, there's a number of really good lead additives from various different companies.
Also, I've heard like cars with flat tappets or stuff like that require. You have to be very careful with the oil that you use.
Zinc. They want you to use
zinc. That's
they
it.
You have to
need
use oil with zinc so you don't use your
what
Babbitt
is the
material.
difference?
SF-rated oil.
What is the difference between valves that need leaded gas and non-leaded?
It's the seats. So they have to be hardened.
Oh,
so it's an
hard-
extra step in the process now.
That's it. Yep.
Where the valve seats that are hardened will be impervious to the cracking that occurs when you don't have lead in the fuel.
Gotcha.
And the lead in the fuel would basically act as a little barrier between the valve and the valve seat.
Like a cushion or something?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's exactly what it is. And so it's because when the fuel goes in, before it achieves that atomization, it is able to coat that. And it's, to oversimplify it, it's kind of like having two-stroke, you know? It gives you a little bit of lubrication that's just built into the fuel you're putting in the motor. Yep. And that's, I mean, and granted, that is a gross oversimplification to say it's like a two-stroke.
That's a good metaphor for it, though, I think.
But it's something I think people can wrap their heads around. So I got his bike out of storage. I put a couple of gallons of Rec 90 in it. So I put 2 gallons of Rec 90 in it, which moved your needle, because your bike was on double secret empty. So...
Which means it still has 4 gallons in it.
No. This thing was bazone dry.
Really?
It was B-zone dry. When I pulled
this thing
it out,
can't move a needle, I got to tell you.
Yeah, so, well, it will eventually. So from dead stick, absolutely showing no fuel in it, and I tapped on the side of the tank and I shook it around, and I heard like moths flying around inside. You did a good job of draining that tank. So what was really funny, though, was it took 2 gallons and it barely pushed your needle up to a quarter.
Okay.
Yeah. So 2 gallons, which I know is just close to half a tank, right? So
No, that's a 7-gallon tank.
No, really?
I think it is.
Oh, my sweet baby Jesus. Oh, that's a fucking gigantic gas tank.
Yeah, 2 gallons in a tank wouldn't be half a tank if it only moved it a quarter of the way up.
I am going to look up and see what the fuel capacity is.
No, unless it's a PC 800. In which case, if you added 2 gallons, it would be full.
7.5 gallons. Chris is on the money. Wow. 7.5 gallon. Fuck you. That is a lot of gasoline.
What, 350 miles a tank?
Well, no.
No, it doesn't. It's
not the way I ride it. I don't know.
She's a thirsty girl. Yeah.
So anyhow, so you put 2 gallons.
I put 2 gallons in it.
Run?
Fantastic. So I fired it up and drove it from the shop to here, just gently, because I wanted to do the tires and everything else and whatnot. And so I did all that. And then for the protest the other night, I had bunkered this place up. I mean, I had my metal moat. I had all my 4-wheeled vehicles and
Chris's bike out front.
Well, Chris's bike was out front.
Take me first.
Take this first.
Escargots.
Right. So I had the whole thing. I had the whole shop bunkered up, but then when we realized that it was going to be awesome and that people were going to be super cool, and that I didn't need to bunker up, so I could put the AK away and all that fun stuff and stop my drinking, and I generally just decided I was going to go home.
Delay your drinking.
Right. Exactly. And so I went and I went ahead and pulled the first bike out that was near the door, which happened to be Chris's bike. So I moved one van and I pulled Chris's bike out, and I was like, well, it looks like I'm riding this home tonight. And I gotta say, I rode it home and I rode it back to work again. The motherfucking bike is a nail. It is a nail. There is no better way to say it. It does exactly what it should do. I have no fault with it, and I'm saying that admitting that it has not 1 but 4 carburetors. It has 4 reasons to hate it, but it delivered perfectly. Like the clutch action. Velvety smooth. Hydraulic clutch, right? Hydraulic clutch. Who knows when the last time was the clutch fluid was changed? Doesn't matter. Velvety smooth. Engagement, perfect. Power delivery, not terrifying, but linear. The only thing that I think it's weird is your bike has a 6-speed transmission.
Yeah.
Which normally would be like all the speeds you would need. Your bike seems to need at least 2 more gears. Because at 80 miles an hour, you're showing like 5,500 RPM.
Right.
But they're not 5,500 like RPM. They're like RPM. So it really does it really has this kind of like, and I'm like, wow, we are flying. And I'm looking down and I'm like, oh, no, it's 85. We're okay.
Is that a chain drive?
Yeah.
So then you just.
Oh, no, maybe it's not. Maybe that's a shafter.
Shaft drive.
That's a shafter. That's a shafter.
The only
That's
thing,
a shafter.
maybe you need just a bigger back tire. Maybe somebody, you know what I mean?
Do a little up gearing, a rubber up gear.
Yep.
Yeah, do a rubber up gear. But it does, and that's a dumb complaint to make because we know Japanese motorcycles are designed to rev.
Yep.
And if you ride like I do, if you ride too many V-twins or you ride too many electric bikes, you get used to lower RPMs delivering 80 miles per hour.
Oh, I guarantee all the zeros are like 12,000 RPM.
No, they're
at
not.
least.
They're about 7,500
The engine
maxed
maxes
out.
out at 4,400 RPM.
Yeah, they're
Does it tell you what RPM?
You can punch it up on the dashboard. It'll tell you your RPMs.
All right.
Yeah, but they're not a super high RPM bike. But the live wires are, because the live wires use a gear reduction, so the live wires run at a much higher engine speed.
But there's also different riders. Like I'm a lugger. I love to be in low RPMs, just cruising along, kind of thing. And that's why I got along with the NC 700X so well.
Because it's a lugger
bike,
yeah.
right? But then other guys,
a lugger too.
Yeah, other guys don't like that. They like to be up on it. So maybe that bike is just a lugger bike.
No, and his bike is very much, it is in touch with its 1,000cc Kawasaki origin. It's a rever. So that bike, his bike, is a fucking rever. It likes to be at 5,500 RPM or better. The
Kawasaki built its reputation
on revving,
on being fast, ferocious bikes.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
even though that's a touring bike, it's still a Kawasaki.
Yes, it is. Yep.
And lumpy cams and stuff like that, it's going to have them.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah! It is a really fun bike. And what's hilarious is, okay, the joke around here is every NASA engineer has owned a Concourse. It was the official NASA engineer's bike for about ever. Now, if you guys can take a look, I want you to look at the speedo cluster of a Concourse. How high does that thing rev? I mean, that is legit a 13,000 RPM 1,000 cc liter bike.
Never mind that. The fact that the tachometer is slightly higher than the speedometer.
Yes, it is. Yeah. It is clearly telling you what side of the field we're playing on. Right. It is clearly a revving bike. There is no doubt about it that the powers that be said 150 mile per hour speedometer, check. 13,000 RPM, check. Now, nobody on a concourse will tell you where the rev limiter is or should be, because they're usually geriatric, right?
Whoa.
So wait, so Chris, which do you have? Do you have that one or that one?
He's got that one. He's got the one on the right.
So Chris,
he's got the good one.
He's got the good
one. Put
one.
your walker on your concourse.
I just strap it to my back.
I will. At this point, this is the point in the podcast where I'd like to remind people that this motorcycle was such a good idea. They built it for 20 fucking years. Now, the KLR is one thing, to build a KLR for 1,000 years like they did, because it's a single-cylinder 650. It's sort of like if you give a kid a box of crayons and said, draw a motorcycle, draw a dirt bike. That's a KLR, right?
Wait.
Steve got the right...
every motorcycle for
again,
20 years.
But has Suzuki had a bike in their lineup? The DR650, I don't know who came first, the DR650 or the KLX 600. I don't know. It's literally a chicken and egg situation.
I'll look it up.
They've both been around for 1,000 years.
Only thing
Steve rode a
Suzuki...
KLR for the first time last weekend.
What?
Oh yeah, we all did.
Holy shit. John, your bike?
Yeah.
So you actually rode a real United States Marine Corps, Marine Corps surplus KLR.
Yeah, I liked it.
So that was with all the good shit.
Made your hams numb.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
I didn't like being behind it.
You don't like being behind it.
It smelled like oil.
It was smelling a little bit like kerosene. The first tank of fuel of the year.
Oh, yeah. You'll have that.
I wanted Sleepy to ride my Africa Twin, though.
I know, we got to trade.
Super Tenere.
You rode my Super T.
Yeah.
I am
Phil,
more
how'd
than
I get
happy to
turned on
trade
to
the
the
KLR off to
Kawasaki
anybody who wants to.
I mean, I don't know. I've always liked him. I've had a bunch of them
better than any other
right?
bike.
So, I mean,
I borrowed one of yours for the weekend.
Well, I had the 100,000 mile one.
Yeah.
So I had a KLR kicking around here with about 100,000 miles on it.
A concourse.
A concourse. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. Thank you.
CG 1000. Yeah.
And ZG. So ZG 1000. And I had one that when I got it, it had 92,000 miles on it. And I was like, first bike I'm going to put 100K on.
Yeah.
It's going to be easy because somebody else did all the heavy lifting.
Right.
And the previous owner had ridden it from Texas to Cleveland and Cleveland to Florida about 100 times. So the guy was just dedicated. And I think he said his mom was here in Cleveland area, and he lived and worked in Texas. But then he would come and visit her and then visit his sister in Florida.
So that's a lot of miles back and forth.
Fuck yeah.
That's
and
ridiculous.
He had this.
Nothing else to do.
Yeah, really.
And he doesn't have a car. And so he put 92,000 miles on the ZG 1000, and he sold it to me for like one of those deals where he comes in the shop and goes, I want to buy that bike you're selling. but I want to trade in a bike. And I was like, yeah, what you got? And he goes, I said, if I'm interested, I'll take it on trade, sure. He goes, well, it's a concourse. And I went, oh, tell me more.
Yeah.
I'm in. You had me at concourse.
Right.
And he goes, well, it's had everything done to it. I go, that's good. And he goes, it's had every upgrade. I'm like, good. And he goes, everything. Okay, great. He goes, but it's got one problem. I go, what's that? He goes, it's got 92,000 miles on it. And I went, that's a lot of fucking miles.
Yeah, sounds like an opportunity.
And he kind of went, yeah, but take it out for a ride, and if you don't love it, that's fine. And I said, what do you want for it? And he goes, take it out for a ride first. I was like, that's a ballsy move.
Mm-hmm.
I took it out for a ride, came back, and it did everything the way it should. So I came back, I found no fault with it. Little cracks in the bodywork here and there was the blue one. Little tiny stuff, right? But it had all the good shit already on it. And I said, well, what do you want in trade-in value on this thing? Because Kelly Blue Book, I mean, this bike is already 16 years old.
It's like $9.
It ain't going to be great.
Right.
And he goes, $1,200.
Ooh.
And I said, that's a buck a cc.
Yeah.
That is in the range of a buck a cc. And I
You
said,
got my attention, young
I said,
man.
you definitely have got my fucking attention. He goes, brand new tires, everything. And he goes, I have every part I ever took off of it in a box.
Oh.
Well, that's nice.
In
And
a
he had
Ziploc bag.
and he had a Corbin seat, and he had all the cool shit.
Did he have logs?
No, but he might as well, right? Well, no,
Okay.
he was too busy riding to make logs.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, he had his shit in a bag. So the this dude was great, and I bought the bike, and then I proceeded to loan it to everybody. So this guy I know from Texas, John Stafford, he comes into town. We throw him the keys. He rides up the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, rides all around the Great Lakes, hits all the Great Lakes on the concourse.
Right.
So that was a hell of a rental, right?
Yeah,
You can't normally do that.
It's a proven bike.
Dude, and he comes back, no problems, loves the bike. Got a speeding ticket, right? I throw the keys to Chris, and I'm like, take it, go have fun. Where did you
Fucking
ride
weekend.
it? Povia?
Way down south of Columbus.
Uzbekistan. All right.
Yeah.
So he went and rode the thing for a while.
Out on the highway.
Yeah.
And it hangs, you know, you don't get any draft from
No.
trucks. I mean,
a
and
really
how
good
did
bike.
how did
Just
it, how did a 100,000-mile version of your bike feel compared to your bike now?
you know what? I thought they're equal.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I sold the one that.
Phil had, yeah. I mean, just open that throttle and just like just tears your neck.
And
in
all
the
I
back
did to the
seat.
one that we had was when it came in, I did a basic service, all the fluids, went through everything, and had one leaky fork seal, so I tore the front end apart, put new fork seals in it, and then we sold it along to a young kid that was like, you know, Johnny Throttle. And he was riding a Ninja 250, and he went from the Ninja 250 to the Concourse 1000.
That's
That
not
is
fair.
a fucking stretch,
Yeah.
man. But God love him. You know, he worked at the video game arcade at the Great Lakes
He
Mall
learned
or
about
something.
mistakes coming a lot faster.
Yeah. And every time I'd see this kid, he was like front wheel 6 inches off the ground on a fucking concourse.
You know, I gotta say, I just realized the scope of the situation here.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at the picture of the speedometer.
Yeah.
And it said 1986 to 2006.
Yes.
20 years.
20 years.
20 years.
The same part
Same
number.
unit. So 1,000 cc, and then
Yeah.
in 2007 they went to 1400s.
Right.
So they
Yeah.
went from,
God.
and then
Yeah.
they'll stick with the 1400s for the 20 years.
I was going to say, until they go electric.
What
Yeah.
more
Right.
could you want?
Yeah.
Right, and that's so
1400
true.
isn't a good number, though.
It's a lot of motor. But yeah, but these things are kind of magic. So here's to the KLR. The concourse. I've been drinking. But here's to the concourse
Oh,
because
by the way, I Googled it. The KLR came first.
oh, of course it did. Yeah. Nothing came before the KLR.
Well, the milk crate that goes on the KLR.
That did come first. Yeah.
I think Steve Sleepy Cinch
Yeah.
needs to talk about this little thing.
Okay,
I'm
so-
asking you about
Wait,
this.
we're not
Okay.
done the concourse yet.
Well, so anyway, I did sell my concourse. Now, Chris, what did you pay? What price did you pay for your lightly loved concourse? Because your bike is in really, really good shape. And it's the gunmetal gray, which is the most macho color they made. Because they made Oldsmobile Buick burgundy. They made a champagne color.
The blue.
They made a dark blue, which is basically the just like I've given up on life blue, which is the color of the one I had. Yeah.
They also made a forest green.
And
which
they
I
did.
really
But
about
those
the
are
forest?
rare as hell.
Yeah.
If
I'm
you
sure those
find-
look good.
98, I think.
Yeah,
was the
if you
forest
find the
green.
forest green one, that is the fucking
Was-
one
There
day.
were two
Pull
of
a
them down
photo
at
of that
State
up.
8, by the way.
Can you find a photo of
Yeah,
the forest
absolutely.
green?
Yeah, I can do that. So yeah, the
Of course, every dude that's into European cars is like, oh yeah, forest green.
Right,
yeah.
right.
But I got to tell you, it's a pretty bike. There were 2 of them down at State 8 2 years ago.
At the same time?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the husband and wife
Yeah, but
traded them in.
the problem is you got to get that whole reach around and the dude fingers you and everything else that happens at State 8. It's just
So-
terrible.
Steve, you
Yeah.
know about those things. So,
Disregard the acid green color. That,
Yeah.
that shall not be considered. But that's the forest green one.
There you go.
There's forest green right there.
I had high hopes, and they did not live up to
No.
expectations.
They've been
It's a little
Nope.
too blue green.
it's very
No.
Teutonic.
But what do you
No.
think? What do you think? What is the percentage of BMW involved in that bike?
In that bike?
Yeah, it looks
Nothing.
exactly like a BMW.
No,
from
it
the
was
time period.
way before it.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
That's what I was
Yeah.
going to say. That
Phil,
BMW
drive down
copied
to
that
Kawasaki
bike.
green,
Okay,
though.
all right.
The one that's like
Yeah, the one that is
on the
legitimately
right down-
Kawasaki
the
green.
very green.
I really like that.
Cam would like that.
If you could find that, like that legit straight up, but I don't think for 1 second
No.
that is a factory paint
No,
job.
absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't think for a
That
second.
might be though. What's that?
Ah,
Oh, the
I
blue
don't
and gray
think
one.
so.
Ooh, the blue and green one. Yeah.
So how much did I pay for it?
Yeah, what'd you pay for that thing? Because I mean, that's a really good motorcycle. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's a fucking nail. It's a really, really solid bike.
I hate that gold too.
The gold, the champagne.
The red looks
Yeah.
good though.
It's kind of an ugly color.
Yeah,
ugh,
the red does look good.
They're
Yeah.
giving those ones away.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. How much?
$3,100.
$3,100,
Man.
and it is respectable
Yeah, and low
in any
mileage, though.
circles.
Had 42,000. when I
Yeah,
bought it.
42K, and it is a
So you have
straight
another
up respectable
Barely
bike.
broken in.
It is,
Yeah.
and
60,000
it is.
miles.
These things are selling so cheap, it's disgusting. So if you want to get a really, really good, cheap motorcycle, you really can't go too far wrong with a Concourse.
Well, and let me just say this, because
Yeah.
last summer I rode it up to Laconia with
Mm-hmm.
a bunch of my friends who are all on Harleys,
Laconians.
and it was a real head turner
Yeah,
because I
it
had
is.
my high vis jacket and my high vis helmet and my Concourse.
Well, you're an
Four
attraction.
cylinders.
And people just kind of looking at me going by thinking, who the fuck is this guy?
All right,
Jesus.
so you just brought up a thing.
He's in the wrong place.
Let me
Pretty sure you hear that all the time, though.
let me
Yeah.
let me pose a question because I was just kind of thinking about this week,
Feel
and now
free
you
to
guys
pose.
brought this up. You have $3,000,
Yeah.
and you want a bike to travel long distances. For me, I was just looking back up. One of the bikes that I really am sad that I ever sold was my V-Star 1100, the Silverado.
Yep.
It's a solid bike, shaft drive, great, comfortable, whatever. And you can find them for $2,400 all
Right.
day long.
All
with
day
like
long.
8,000
Yep.
miles on it.
Absolutely.
Great bike. So that would be my choice. Under $3,000 if I wanted the travel bike.
Yeah, but the riding position is totally different. I mean, your Concourse is standard.
I have it pulled up on the picture right now. I've got pulled up 1986. We talked about who came first, the
Yeah.
BMW or the Kawasaki. This was BMW's touring offering in 1986.
That's
and
disgusting.
we can see that the BMW definitely, even their K100 RS, the K100 RS, which is absolutely their 1,000cc cream of the crop, which does look like George Jetson's motorcycle. Now, you can see that might be a K100 RS, but that is not a proper touring bike. There's not enough windshield. There's not enough fairing. It has the bags.
the
but
GL 1200 had it over all of them.
well, of course it did, but we're not even in that hunt. I think with GL we're going to say full touring, but with Concourse we're saying sport touring.
Yeah.
Right.
When did the ST come out?
Ooh, excellent
The
question.
ST1100.
The ST 1100.
Well, not
It was in 1986.
No, it wasn't
No.
86. I think it was
Right.
in the 90s.
That
but-
was always a bike that I really wanted.
And you know what? I think that's another bike that again, there's nothing wrong with it. 1990, so it was 4 years later.
People who've owned them have
But
said
that one was dialed in, and that one was super refined. And I mean, I had an ST 1100, and I
Yep.
love that bike.
And again, I would only say the only problem with an ST 1100 is the location of the carburetors.
Yeah, buried in the pit of death.
Or the fact that it has carburetors.
Well, that would be the second problem with an ST
I've heard
1100.
of people selling them because you'd do 100 mile an hour and you wouldn't even know it.
No.
You're just like,
Yeah, it was
Wow.
velvety smooth. Yeah, that V4
They were
motor
better
in
than
that
the
thing was just
1300s.
I gotta say,
fantastic.
I rode. Remember, Henry came to Mid Ohio and he
Yep.
had that ST 1100,
Yeah.
and he stupidly let me ride it. Up and down the stretch over the,
Yeah.
where all the bikes are parked and stuff like that. And I was relatively drunk.
As
but
Mid-Ohio.
I gotta say that thing was fantastic.
It really is a fantastic bike. STs
mile
are
long, too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And that's the largest capacity motorcycle I think I've ever ridden.
Oh, the 1100?
Yep.
Yeah. And that's a wrong way V. That's a V4 going
Yep.
the wrong way. Yep. So they're just, those are another great bike. But I'm going to say, if somebody wants to have just a fucking straight up, I want to cover a lot of miles on a great motorcycle that's never going to fuck me over, shaft drive, it's a great bike. So the Kawasaki Concourse, and maybe like every third tank of gas, give it Rec 90. It'll probably serve you great for 100 years.
A motorcycle is not a place where you mind getting the shaft.
Hey, that's true. True that. That's a really. I had a great time riding your bike, Chris. I really did. I thank you. Thank you for always letting me ride your stuff. That's
You
just,
wanted to ride the Drifter too, I thought.
I will always ride that Drifter, dude. That Drifter. I like that Drifter.
We have to fix it though.
Yeah.
The left back turn signal is wiggly.
On the
And,
Drifter?
Yeah, and just something. I was looking at the parts fiche, but we didn't.
Broken? No.
No, just loose.
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 Yeah, that's
Wiggly.
fine.
I feel like that's fixable.
Oh, it is.
No shit.
No.
I've got some black tape.
If you got maple syrup, you can fix that. Just
Right.
one drop in the right place and let it harden.
Well, it's just simple. It's like either this little black cone comes
Yeah.
off or not.
Yeah.
Like, and if it
Right.
does, then it's easily whatever.
It's what it is. I love the Drifter too, and that's my guilty pleasure bike is 800 Drifters.
It sounds so good. He was in front of me.
He's
last
got
weekend.
got that silver tone exhaust on it.
Yeah, it sounds
really
good.
Didn't
Yeah.
they make trumpets at one point?
Guys, I've been saving this, but I have a trombone that is useless as
it
a
rusty?
trombone.
Really?
But
Yes, but as a bike
we
ornamentation,
could cut the bell off
Right.
and use it as an exhaust tip.
yes, we could.
That's got to go on something.
Now, but I'm
Why
thinking
use the
though,
trombone? What's
don't.
the matter with the trombone?
The slide,
slide doesn't work.
You can't move it hardly.
Oh, so
What'd you
what you're
do?
saying is it's a rusty trump.
Did you spit on it? I mean, did you spit on it? I mean,
I tried everything.
It's probably just a little bit bent.
Look, I am set on making this thing an exhaust tip.
And you know what I'm
ruin a
set
good
on,
trombone.
and I'm set on making it an adjustable exhaust.
Yeah, right.
Bundy? Is it a
Whoa.
I'm
don't know.
set
I don't
on
know.
I'm set on making it an in-flight adjustable exhaust.
That would be great, dude. A passenger.
Yes.
Brrr.
Exactly. Hey, what's going on?
That's not a bad idea.
I don't see any reason why that shouldn't be. And you know, I think that for a rusty trombone, you should probably have a two-stroke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it should be the Stinger on a
I agree.
two-stroke.
I agree.
Yeah. I don't think a four-stroke's going to give it the right service. I think it needs to be a two-stroke. You got to have pulses per minute.
That
Yeah.
could take the bazooka stuff to the next level.
Yes, it could. It could be a whole new sign called Trambuca. Yeah. And you can drink Sambuca while you play your Trambuca. And I think that's a fucking great idea.
Well, now it's out into the,
Boogie,
into the
woogie, woogie.
universe.
Boogie, oogie, oogie. I totally agree with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. And I'll drink to that idea. So there.
So has there been any correspondence with any of
No, it's been dark. It has been dark. I will give you that.
Call Rand.
No,
Call
no, no,
Rand.
no. That
Call-
gentleman is going to stop it.
Is he okay?
But and I don't know. We can reach
Do we
out to him
care?
though. I'm not going to do it right now. I'm not
I
going to do it at the
care.
moment.
I care if Rand's
that's
okay.
fine.
This
Yes.
is
Grumpy
not gonna be bad to
there will be no
everybody.
chanting tonight. Just so I'm just telling you.
I'm not
But
chanting.
again,
No chanting
Grumpy
for calling
sewer,
Rand,
sewer guy
and there'll be no
cares
chanting for
about
going
Rand.
to Porco.
You do
I do
understand
care. I
that
don't want
chanting in
anything
this
bad to happen
city.
to him.
Oh yeah.
All right. Right. So we do understand that chanting in this particular city, we could lead to certain law enforcement involvement. So
All cops are bastards.
no, right, exactly. All cats are beautiful. That's it. That's what I'm sticking with.
Also
all cats
true.
are beautiful.
I think there's big gray fur.
Every cat is beautiful.
All cats are beautiful. 1312.
In its own
1312. It has been a little bit quiet. I do want to read one listener letter, and this is this will be episode or installment number 7 in listener mail from the same exact person. And in his defense, he might be right about this. We occasionally here at the podcast, we have to admit when we fucked up. And occasionally we do fuck up. And occasionally we don't necessarily give the answer to the question the dude was asking. And that may have happened 2 weeks ago. Oh. So 2 weeks ago, our beloved podcast listeners had thrown out a... if you guys are going to give me a second, I'm going to pull this up. I want to make sure I read it verbatim because it is kind of a fuck up on our part. So
we're all going to listen this time.
Yeah, I think we might have to. I think this time we might actually give it the service
and no
deserves.
Tequila.
I was really drunk.
Only a little bit of tequila tonight.
Yep.
Well,
so I think this
really
time we have got.
podcast.
Well, and some of us are abstaining from getting drunk because we're going for a giant ride tomorrow.
Yeah. So talk about that.
Okay, so me and Nick.
Boy, what a lead-in.
What's the question?
What a lead-in. Cinch just
we weren't
jumps
supposed
on
to
it.
get drunk tonight?
What?
I'm confused.
I'm going to be dehydrated.
I don't understand the question.
Oh, so you're drinking hardcore?
I'm drunk. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
No,
I was gonna say-
we're going on a ride tomorrow.
Yeah, no, we're doing the triple nickel tomorrow.
Yeah.
555.
We're doing the nickel triple?
The
That's
nickel
it.
triple, yeah.
The triple
You
nipple.
too.
Nipples.
Yeah, we got about
The
9
nipple
hours of
triple?
riding in front of
What,
us.
the nipple triple?
We're gonna do the triple nipple tomorrow.
Yeah.
Wait, that was in
9
that
hours of
Arnold
riding.
Schwarzenegger movie.
That's a
Total
commitment.
Recall.
Yeah.
So you guys are doing a 9-hour ride tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yep.
Hoffert is too.
9
How many of that are you
hours.
gonna do, Nick?
All of them.
Yes. Awesome.
What bike didn't you take a Nick?
You better be able to
What?
keep up.
Yeah, loosely speaking.
I'm taking the Bandit because that is the only reliable bike that I own.
Bandito.
Yep.
The 1992
Cinch, what are you
Bandit?
taking there, pal?
It's
Super-
a
Super
91.
10, right?
Thank you very much.
I watched
Bandit
it.
400.
Hoff, what are you taking?
I'm going to ride my 28-year-old
Every
motorcycle,
Yes.
my 29-year-old motorcycle.
Too bad
'cause
you're
it's the
not
most
taking a
reliable
Trans
bike I own. Cleveland Moto purist right here.
True.
I'd love to take that.
Hoff, what are you riding?
Hoff is going to steal the Transalp for the day.
What?
Oh, I'm taking the Africa Twin.
Okay. Okay.
I'm going to take it. It's real-
Yep.
All right.
And then is your boy coming with his Africa Twin?
Yep, he's coming.
All right.
Africa Twin.
And then Mike
Right.
may join us with his V-Strom.
What's Cameron going to ride? That giant fucking Kawasaki he has?
No, I don't think Cam doesn't.
He's
race.
taking his Camaro.
He's not riding anything. A Corvette, maybe.
Yeah, maybe a Corvette.
Bitchin' Corvette?
Yep.
I think
What's the question we didn't
That
answer?
is so Corvette.
He's steaming his satin Corvette jacket
Steaming.
tomorrow. So he's got a. He's adding a patch.
He's graying his hair.
He went to another car show, so he's adding another patch.
He'll be down in Bowling Green at the social distancing Corvette rally.
Wearing his Pit Viper sunglasses.
There's only 4 people
Girl
that showed
watcher.
up, but they had 7 patches, so they're
Right.
cool.
They're cool.
They're fine.
All right, are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So this is from our friend Matt Davidson, who I met cross country. I was delivering bikes cross country one time. This dude came into Iowa, or I came into Iowa and ran into a guy in a bar because he literally looked at my back of my truck, and I had motorcycles in the back of my truck, as I always do. And he came in, super cool guy. And him and his girl came to the bar. And again, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. This guy has systematically cornered the market on poorly running 70s vintage Hondas in Iowa. Right? So, again, he said,
better.
and I'm just going to read this
Sorry.
again. Boy, you guys fucking dodged the question again. I didn't think Liza was going to be able to beat that dead horse anymore regarding the AMA being closed
Oh,
for
yeah,
Ohio
yeah,
shit
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
I'm still not a member,
Right.
by
Exactly.
the way.
But she proved us all wrong. You posed my question beautifully, which I'm actually pretty sure was just the excellence of my vernacular coming through.
Oh,
Then
boy.
Liza steps back in and completely fucking changes the subject back to the AMA. I think the second time warrants a per my last email text here. So please refer to my last message.
And this guy's name is Karen?
Exactly. Matt Davison wants to speak to our manager.
That's right.
Okay? So please refer to my last message. Although it does stroke my ego to hear my name and questions on the podcast, for the $10 a month, I'd like you to do a little stroking and answer my fucking question.
Wow.
Attaboy.
Fuck this guy.
Attaboy.
Honestly, fuck this guy.
Happy
Oh,
Friday
man.
to all of you gentlemen.
If he
My
paid
hands are a
money,
little
he
calloused. You
deserves
may
it.
not like it.
And happy Friday to all you gentlemen. And tell Johnny Mac I will send you a picture to share with him the best pair of tits in my camera roll if he actually dives into electronic ignitions for me and joins the AMA.
So wait a minute. Is this guy upset or is he still a happy customer?
wait. If you're going to be a Cleveland Moto listener, you have to be both.
Yes.
It's a yin and yang thing.
Are you done yet, Phil?
Nope, not yet. P.S. Don't fuck knock, fuck Liza.
What's the question?
Wait, we're getting to that.
Wow.
Hold on.
Those are some
I'm waiting.
strong words.
I'm waiting for the
All
question.
Don't fuck knock. Fuck
Is this
Liza.
the ignition question?
He said, I've
again?
not missed one single episode yet. What the hell ever happened to the old episodes you started to release? Well, as you guys know, my mom's kind of going through a thing right now. You know, it's called death. And we didn't do a podcast last week, so we dropped a greatest hits, podcast like number 11 or whatever, podcast number 10. And we'll do that from time to time. Don't worry, those are coming. We got a lot of them. Thanks to our listeners. From the vault. And so I had to take care of my mom last week, but I'm literally, my wife is right now with my mom. We don't know what's going to happen. She's on hospice, and it's weird. And there's morphine in the house. That's weird. So he comes back and he says, and the saga continues. Fuck me running. Had to listen to last week's podcast 2 times to make sure I didn't miss my question being answered.
Oh, poor guy.
And sure as shit, it wasn't. Haha. I am now getting the feeling that you are just fucking with me, and it's working.
He's catching on.
Again, Cleveland Moto. While I appreciate the knowledge of what electronic kits you guys find to be the best, I have no intention on spending real money on one. I understand points. I got one in a CB550 that I purchased, but the bike never ran due to the previous owner using household wiring, athletic tape, and duct tape to wire the bike. I promptly ripped that off as I am rewiring the entire goddamn thing. But I wanted to put said Dyna 2000 off of the CB550 onto my CB750F, if it's worth my time. My question is, how do they work? What are the advantages and disadvantages? And a general overview of them. At this point, I don't care if you answer it on the podcast. I will be happy with a simple don't do it. Or, since you got them for basically free, go for it. I had my fingers crossed the promise of great tits would entice Johnny Mac to say something other than throw them in the trash.
I'd like to take this question.
Go ahead, John.
So, Steve, tell me about the 2 new bikes you just bought.
So was one of them, what was a TS, a Suzuki TS 125? Was that the deal? Was that no, that was a 250, wasn't it?
And
The
didn't you
250 is actually more desirable.
that was one of my first bikes.
What year was it?
Well, I think mine was a 72, but I think his is actually a 73. It's hard to tell.
Now, but yours
It
is
says
yours
it's
the
a
red color?
72 on the title, but
It looks exactly like mine. Now, mine had been.
I'm gonna pull it
repainted,
up on the
73.
screen.
No, it is a 73 because the Moto Guzzi's a 72.
Okay, let's pull it up on the screen so we can take a look at it. You got the kind of red color one,
we
right?
gotta answer the guy's question.
Fuck that guy. All right. So yeah, there you go. That's nice.
No, not
yeah.
that one.
That's cool.
Oh, it's that one.
That's kind of orangey colored.
That's exactly what it looks like.
It's an orangey colored one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Nice.
I'm a kind of Camaro for it.
Yeah, they're kind of cool. Yeah,
But
pants
I
are
feel
getting
like
tighter.
Steve's starting to work
Right.
on it. Like he's
Yeah.
gonna. He's
I want to
falling-
make it for you. I'm doing it for you.
They had the really funny, like the donkey dick spark arrestor on them. They had this like exhaust. Now yours has all been cut to shit.
No, it's
Does it go
perfect.
all the way to the taillight?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow. Oh, they had this weird exhaust on. They had like a little sad end on it that just aimed
it's
down.
like angled. It's
Right,
like
so it could
that.
only light the.
It's more like that one.
It could
It
only
goes
light
like
the
this. It's
short
like
grass.
that.
It wants to
That.
hold your hand over. It's
No,
like you
it's
want
like
like
the one
this.
on the right.
It's right
No,
here.
no,
That's
the-
what it is.
No, the one on the right.
This?
No,
Yeah.
the one in the
No.
top
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That's the bike right
That's
there.
the wrong
the
side of the right
But you
bike.
gotta
As
find
far
the
as
right
you
side of
guys
that
are
bike.
The
If you look at the-
exhaust.
they're all the same bike.
No, they're not.
No, that's the right exhaust.
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh, that's an earlier
maybe.
This
one.
is the right bike. That's the right bike.
That's not the right exhaust because it doesn't say 250 on it. So find the right
No, it's
exhaust.
the
Find the.
original exhaust. It's the
Okay, in
original
other words,
exhaust.
that's really entertaining for our podcast listeners. Anyway, so you
thanks for
you
answering
bought
the
this bike
question.
last week, and so
Right.
you bought this bike last week, and you also got a Moto Guzzi Ambassador.
Yeah, 72 Ambassador.
Fucking A. Holy shit. Dude, that's a
And I love
good
that
day out.
Ambassador. You know what? I saw that Ambassador.
Yeah.
They got a thing for estate sales, and I saw it, and I'm like,
Dude, that is
bike
an inside
like a
track
work
right
of
there.
art.
Was that squirrel thing that every squirrel find in a nut thing?
Yeah.
Was that what it came in as? Because there's that squirrel, like the secret squirrel. You don't know about that. Okay.
No,
All right.
no, but they had both these bikes there, and I went in, and they wanted too much money for the Moto Guzzi,
Of course.
and they wanted too little money for the
TS.
TS.
Right.
So I made, and they're like, we're not negotiating. And
The
so I
fuck
said,
you aren't.
Well, I'll give you $1,000 for both of them. And
Right.
they're like, okay.
I guess we're not
That's
negotiating.
What was
Right.
the TS, a 250?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the one you want.
Yep.
Yeah. And then that's the Ambassador.
Yeah.
Ambassadors are 750 cc's. Some of them have an upside down transmission, which is okay. You can get used to it.
That one doesn't look as good as Steve's though.
And
They come with a car battery that's like this big.
well,
in the middle of it.
it is a agricultural battery because Moto Guzzi's are tractors. And
Basically, anything Italian that came from that time period is a piece of agricultural equipment.
it's true.
So
It's absolutely true. If you look at that bike, Moto Guzzi Ambassador is such a gorgeous bike. I had the Eldorado, which is a 70. I had a 74 Eldorado, which is now a 5-speed and an 850 motor. They did those for the California Highway Patrol, give them a little more punch. But the Ambos and the Ambassadors, they're basically the same bike. They're beautiful, beautiful machines. They just
I'll talk
do
a little
look
bit
great.
about the TS. My TS kicked ass when I only remembered as a kid. Mine was beat to shit. I paid $50 for it. The fucking clutch was fucked up. I ended up taking the springs out and putting washers in it. Made it a solid clutch. No clutch.
What?
I drove it like a year and a half. I lived
With no
down-
clutch?
Yeah, I would just push. I would kick it.
A two-stroke 250.
Yeah,
No clutch.
no clutch.
You are a big boy.
I just
Yeah.
bolted the clutch pack
Yeah.
together with washers.
Fuck.
So I'd start it up, I'd get it going, I'd push it a little bit, jump on it, click it in gear, and take off. And I would just fucking power shift it the whole time. I mean, I rode
Holy
the fuck out of
fuck.
it for a year and a half,
With
just
no
like
clutch.
that. I'd get stuck in the mud and stall it,
Yeah.
and I'd start it up, and I'd be like, ring, 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 ring.
Mongo, start motorcycle.
Just kick it in gear just the right time and fucking take
Fuck,
off.
man, that's bad as hell.
Man.
So yours is black, right?
No,
Black-
oh, you're
Your Ambassador, right?
Yeah.
Your Ambassador's black. The black ones are faster.
Yeah, it looks just like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Max 250 still in like fucking therapy.
The only thing that's
PTSD.
really bad are the valve covers
Yeah.
are pitted,
Yeah, that's fine.
and the right not pinstriping, but it looks like they painted on even the emblem. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know.
they
how
did. No, it's painted
so
on.
The painted on
Yeah.
emblem. The Gucci part is like rubbed off, kind of rubbed raw,
Yeah.
and the eagle or whatever that
Yeah,
is.
it's an eagle.
Yeah.
Just leave it
Just
alone.
a little bit.
Yeah, just
it's
leave
a
it
little-
alone.
But the
Polish
rest of
it
the bike
home.
is
as
in
it is.
fantastic
Yeah.
shape.
You have 500 pounds of fucking angle iron that must have at one
Oh,
point
yeah,
been
in the
bolted
back.
to it. It was like the rack and the
horrible.
pannier mounts
Yeah.
and the everything and the sparkling. It was ridiculous. Thankfully,
the
they came.
Maltese cross, but it had a
Maltese
Maltese
cross
cross
taillight.
tail.
Oh, it did?
So the best part.
That is so asshole.
So Steve talks about this bike, and he's like, it has this fucked up luggage rack thing. So we're looking at the bike, and I'm like, I don't see it,
All right.
and stuff. And he's like, oh no. All those parts are in my truck. So you go to the truck,
Yeah.
and
His suspension slammed. It was the shit in
Yeah.
the back seat.
There's just 1,000 pounds of extra
let
shit.
me explain this. It's 4 feet long of angle iron, 4 feet, right?
Yeah.
And then there's like the
Bed rails.
the rails that you attach the bags to
Yeah.
and stuff are attached to the angle iron.
Yeah.
That now is also attached to another piece of angle iron, which goes down and then has a Maltese cross, 18 fucking turn signals, other things, deer whistle things, racks.
No, you forgot the
Backrest.
the 3-foot sissy bar.
The 3-foot sissy bar. This thing.
Oh my God.
He's not lying. This piece that was taken off the bike was at least 150 pounds.
This thing would never
For
float.
only $1,000.
2 bikes for $1,000. You got literally,
Buck
you
a
picked up
CC.
1,000 cc's. There's a buck
What's
a
scrap
cc.
value right now?
Right? Exactly. Right. Yeah. You're winning. You're winning on that one.
And my Rebel's running today.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, how cool is that?
Rebel, you
So there's a
You know what? That bike is so uncomfortable.
there's a
Tilted the
couple
handlebars all
touring the
way through
world.
Getting them all.
Hangers.
hot tramp.
hell
I
is
love
that?
you.
That's a
so.
couple that tours the world on a 1979 Moto Guzzi, and they have legitimately toured around the planet on that bike.
That doesn't look like a 1979.
No, it doesn't. It looks like a turtle.
With a hat.
Yeah, it does. It is.
Turtle.
Yep. That is a 1979 Moto Guzzi, and that just proves like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of miles on that bike. And there's a couple. They just
God, that fucker rolls in for a fucking service, and you're just like,
yeah.
fuck. Look how
Yeah.
much shit you
Yeah.
have to remove just to change
Right.
the oil.
Turn the lights out.
That's the first time that you had to say, "Oh shit, we had to take off the roof."
Right. You thought Gold Wings were hard. Wait till you deal with Kevin and Karen's bike. So yeah, Kevin and Karen Brown, they've been traveling the planet on this Moto
That's
Guzzi.
actually their names.
Yeah, Kevin and Karen. Kevin and Karen Brown. Yeah. So that's it. So yeah, they've been riding around the world on a Moto Guzzi.
They've been waiting years to get on the podcast.
Oh, fuck yeah, right.
Wow.
Can I revisit the
Funny thing is, my buddy-
550F? and
Should we talk about Matt
750F?
Davidson shit? Now that we gave him a small heart attack?
Yeah,
Oh, really?
Might as well.
Oh, we are actually going to go
man.
back to that?
I don't know,
No,
man.
but I, from my opinion, I mean, my personal opinion is
Right.
if that 550 is running,
Well, no. Now, here to clarify, I must stand this. We're not. The question is not whether or not the 550 is running. The question is he got a set of electronic ignition, right?
A Dyna 2000.
So he received a Dyna 2000 on
A
a
550.
CB 550,
He wants to put it on a
and he wants to put
750.
on a CB 750. Now, okay, in the plus column, they're both 4-cylinder bikes.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember what the points plate.
The firing order.
Yeah, the firing order.
Right.
The
Oh,
points
they're
plates.
both the same.
I don't think they are.
Really?
So here's why I don't think they are. If I remember correctly,
Are you going to use the Google?
I am using the Googler right now. I believe that the Dyna 2000 for the CB 550 and the Dyna 2000 for the CB 750 are different part numbers. But maybe not, because
Let's
look
talk
here.
about the coils. Okay, so one coil works 1 and 3, another coil
Right.
works 2
2 and 4, exactly.
on a CB 750, I
Correct.
believe.
Yes, you're right.
Is it the same on a 550?
I will bet $50 that that same ignition kit could be made to work on any 4-cylinder.
Exactly.
Well, and then-
I totally agree.
From 350 to 750.
Yeah.
The other thing is this:
wait,
that
don't disparage 350.
even if the firing order
I'm
is
not. I'm including it.
even if the firing order is different, remember, we can take spark plug caps
And we can move 'em around. We do
where
it all
they're
the time.
supposed to
That's
go.
true,
So
too. That's
you
true.
should be able to do that.
And not only that, but the best thing is, so what I did was I immediately went to the Dynatech website,
okay,
which is something Matt Davidson probably should have done. On
Matt Davidson.
the third time we didn't
And I
answer his
expect
question
titties,
to his
since we are talking
satisfaction.
about
Let's be
this.
honest. He already solved the problem. He's just waiting for us to catch up.
He must be a cop.
Exactly.
He doesn't ask any questions he
So-
doesn't already know the answer to.
Right.
But I have a question for Nick. Like, what happened to this bike today when you brought it in?
What?
He's
Trying to
literally,
diverge. He's trying to
that was
diverge.
completely, he just hijacked that. Good job.
Trying to diverge.
So Matt Davidson, yes. Okay, now what happened to that bike that you brought in today? When you
I don't understand the question.
No, you
What?
brought it in and it ran for like 2 seconds,
Right.
and then
and then it fucked
Failed.
off.
There was
Start.
first of all there was gas puking everywhere. But
It was.
Yeah.
We don't think that's really the problem.
No.
What
The
ended
spark
up
plug he
being the
pulled out was
problem
dry
is-
as shit and dirty as shit.
Matt
I don't even know where he
Davidson
got that
should
spark
re-
plug.
The
Should
spark
get
plug
rid of
came
his
with
membership.
the engine.
Okay, I believe that.
it came out of Chris's Concourse.
It was running great earlier, and
And your headlight worked.
to update the listener, this is the RV90 engine
Right.
that is currently in the MT50
Right.
Trailhopper.
Which is now the MT90.
Exactly. Earlier, I did a top speed run of 40.8 miles per hour.
At Mid-Ohio
Point-
last year.
It was flat.
GPS
Believe it or
verified.
not,
What is GPD? Because you used that term in your text message. What's
Huh?
GPD?
what is GPD?
Oh, apparently
I-
nobody picked up on that typo.
I
then.
don't know what that is.
You mean GPD verified?
Maybe GPS
Gross domestic
verified?
product.
Well, okay, so you just it was a typo. You
I
said
guess so.
GPD. I was
I
like,
guess so.
S&D are close
a
to
global
each other.
positioning device.
Right.
Maybe there's a difference between that. I don't know.
Yes.
It wasn't like a buddy distance unit instead of in miles per hour?
Basically, at Mid-Ohio last year, I think Cam had the fastest top speed on the Trailhopper, which was like 36 miles per hour,
Yeah.
which was 0 verified because
No.
I was on the 0 chasing him.
Right.
Oh, I thought Lies was chasing him.
Oh, Cameron.
They call
If you're not here, we will throw you under the bus. As we did in episode number 10, way back when with James. James didn't show up at the podcast. We fucked him in the ass.
Today, on a slight uphill incline, I achieved 40.8 miles per hour on the MT90. So I think I need to adjust the gearing slightly.
Well, I
And
think that was with low tires. If you harden up those tires, that's good for at least another 5
Get that
mile
contact
an hour.
patch real small.
That's true also. But also, I
Gotta
Can I
get it
recommend
hard.
tucking?
I was full tuck at 40.8 miles
fuck
per
me.
The
hour.
handlebars down like
Legs
this.
out, legs out.
Well,
Cannonball.
that's the other thing that we did not mention before is those handlebars are not original to the Trailhopper. those are like CT90 style folding
They
handlebars.
are, and they're very sweet.
Whereas the original Trail Hopper handlebars actually were concentric
Yeah.
with the fork, and they
Yeah.
actually slid down into the
Yeah.
fork tube.
They were
Say that word again. You kind of turned me
telescopic.
on.
Right.
Concentric.
Concentric.
Those
They're
were
telescopic.
garbage, so I replaced them with.
I wish
the-
my wife
with
would
the-
talk to me that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so, yeah, you guys, you did borrow the Gerber tool and you pliered on some things.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it didn't help having the carburetor loose.
Yeah. The
No, the
carburetor
carburetor
Put that
was
fucking
finger tight.
carburetor on there.
So-
I think you should ride it like this.
Oh
Nick.
yeah,
I agree.
There's
maybe
the speed run.
Maybe there was an air leak.
There might have been an air leak. There may
But
or may not
also-
have been an air
the
leak.
ground.
Also, I adjusted the idle.
Detents it.
Oh, we screwed
Well,
it
no,
now.
that wouldn't make a difference.
No, that wouldn't make a difference.
I don't know. I don't know what the problem was, but later on it was running all right.
They ran nice.
Yeah.
It was running real good.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. A little air in the tires and maybe an up gear.
I like this thing.
I think if you do an up gear, you might get 50.
Well, when we took our ride out to the Grumpy Sewer Guy's sewer plant, he was drafting off of the guy on the KLR 650. He was able to maintain 55 miles an hour pretty easily.
On the Monkey?
No,
And the
it
Sim.
wasn't 55 miles.
On the
It
Simba?
was 54 miles.
Yeah,
an hour.
Simbas are quick. Yeah,
We could
Simbas are not
get
fucking
60
around.
We couldn't get
50, I'm
60
gonna
out
tell
of
you.
it.
No.
I'd lose them if I went up
No.
to 60.
No, I could have gone faster. You were holding me back there, bro.
You got
Here we go. Here we go.
The only reason that either of those two are alive is because me and Smith had our fucking bright yellow jackets.
Oh,
on.
really?
We were running
We
behind.
were blocking.
Yeah, we were blocking.
I get it.
I was in a tuck behind Johnny.
Yep. And is that Simba bone stock?
Yep.
So you guys found something out that you could have found out had you used Google.
The Google machine.
The Google machine says that
See,
the
and that's
Simba
what I
top
said.
speed.
It gets,
Yep.
it approaches 60.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
Give her the fucking beans next time.
You know what?
You were
Phil, that's
slowing
for
me down,
130
bro.
pounds.
Fuck you,
Right.
man.
Do
Every
you
time
see
I
right there? Right? Do you see that right there? It says the listed top speed is 59 miles per hour. Although they don't specify the size and shape of the rider needed to get the Simba up to that speed. So they've got fucking sarcasm built into it, right? Or how long it takes.
Yeah, because my shape is wide.
Here's
and
a
Right.
Honda Super Cub.
He wasn't in a
C70.
tuck either.
Here's
He
the
didn't get down on the
similarity.
bars or anything. He's fucking sitting bolt upright.
Right, of course he is.
Bolt upright.
He didn't want to get any real fucking
Get some. Come on, man.
Yeah.
I was in a
You could have done
semi-tuck.
75.
I
Oh.
was in a semi.
Johnny Mac, you were not blowing up enough.
I took the Simba-
I'm
draft
sitting there with
either.
my fucking arms out, my legs out. I'm fucking like trying to block as much area as I could.
You were like driving behind a skyscraper.
That's what I was supposed to be.
And by the way,
Perfect.
that's exactly
I
how
didn't
you do
feel
it.
any wind.
Yeah. Yeah. We
By
did.
the way,
We
approaching 60 miles per hour. 59 miles per hour is 60 miles.
it's 60
per hour.
miles per hour. Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
Ooh, look at that one. The second one. Ooh, that's sweet.
Ooh, with the gold wheels.
Gold
Yeah, oh,
rims,
no,
gold
that's sweet.
rims.
Yeah, I mean, Simbas are fun. I mean, they're just fucking cool anyway. But anyway,
Lion King.
yeah.
I don't know what you'd have to do to take your Dyna 2000 off the 550 and put it on a 750.
Honestly, just try it. Just try
I mean, there
It
might.
says it
It'll
in the
work.
fucking part number's the same, dude.
it. It will fucking
Oh, it is
work.
the same part.
The
number?
part number's exactly the same. I mean, it is a
why?
no-brainer. That shit will work.
But
Yeah.
why? Because they're all single cam Honda 4-cylinders with
Yeah,
the same
but why
fire
would you
motor.
want to just do the work? to
Well,
take
I
it
just
off
don't
and
know
do
what
that?
the points plate and everything should be the same thing. You know, is the points plate and everything it'll bolt up and
Is it
Yeah.
the same size?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Again, I've never fucked with one because I don't like them.
But is
They're-
the advance the same? Is the advance the same on a 550 as
Yeah.
it is on a?
So
cares?
no, it
almost
turns
every
out.
bike the advance is 2,000
I care.
RPM. That's all you
Well,
care.
yeah,
I
exactly.
care.
And as
It'll
it happens
work.
to be, the good news is here's to our listener what he can know and he can feel confident in is that Matt Davidson.
Not related to Harley.
No.
His
or Earl.
name is Matt Davidson.
His name is
His
Matt
name is-
Davidson.
He wouldn't own a Honda if it was related
What I
to
can
Harley.
tell Matt Davidson is that the good news is the folks at Dyna have identified that the part number for his CB550 system is the same part number for the CB750 system. And they don't even go into the trouble of saying 750K, 750F. No, it's the same part number for a CB550 as a CB750. So if it doesn't work, go fuck your hat because the shit was broken when you bought it. Right?
And
Don't
if
blame
it's-
us.
if it's-
we tried.
If it's good for a CB550, I would also argue that it's probably good for a CB650.
Ooh, now that's where I draw the line.
Shaft drive.
Yeah, different.
I totally disagree.
Different
Yeah.
pig, different farm.
Yep.
Yep, I totally agree. I totally agree.
650 is different.
I don't think it's the same.
650
Right?
shaft
You're talking
No,
single overhead
but we're
cam
also talking double overhead
versus
cam.
Double overhead
Yep,
cam.
exactly.
650 was double overhead?
Yeah, you don't
Yep.
know shit. Shut
Yeah.
the fuck
I guess not. I guess not.
Fucking kids, man. I'm telling you. Yeah, the Dynatech.
No, wait a minute.
Don't you come on this
I'm
podcast.
Googling.
You can go ahead. But the CB650 was a totally different platform than the 550, the 500, and the 750.
And you're talking like 1980s, so it's like more of a dual overhead cam. 750,
Yeah, and the
650.
CB650 had the twin igniters, and it's just, there was
I
a
don't
lot of
know
reasons
about
not
that,
to love
Phil.
it. Yeah, go ahead.
Explain this photo.
Oh, explain this photo.
That's a CB650 with a single overhead cam.
I am not even seeing that. So,
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I really
It's the
am
internet,
not. But
so it's got to be true.
yeah, all right, exactly. Yeah. Uh-huh.
There might
No,
have
but
been
I'm
one.
saying that
I thought the
there might
650
have
was
been
based
one.
off of the 550.
I'm just gonna go on record right now as
Honda built
saying
so much
that
shit, I can't even fucking
Yeah.
keep
right.
track of it.
But I am gonna tell you that when it comes to
you
the
could
Honda,
be right, Nick.
yeah. But when
I wouldn't bet on it. But
well, yeah, Honda CB7, the Honda CB650. Sorry, I've been drinking. The Honda
The
CB650
piano's
is a
broken.
bit of a fucking monster. It's a bit of its own fucking animal, and when you look at like everything is different on a CB650. So the CB650 is
that does
its
look like a
own fucking
overhead.
weird bike. CB650s are not CB550s. CB650s.
Can you do a
Yeah.
search for this?
Yep.
CB650 SOHC.
Oh,
Yeah, do
excellent.
that, do
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, exactly.
That will prove me right.
Well, not
It might.
right.
It actually
no,
might,
he
because
was
now
his
that you
assertion was it would be the same Dyna ignition.
Which it is.
I don't think it is. No, it's not. It's not even by their own listing. Yeah.
Well, they're wrong.
All right. Yep. I know that the
I see a
CB.
CB650.
I don't doubt that it's
SOHC.
single overhead cam. I believe it's single overhead cam, but I'm telling you, it's not the same ignition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I rebuilt one. I don't know.
No.
I don't remember.
The CB550
Itself derived
became,
from the earlier CB500.
yes, but it's not the same timing at
Look
all.
up the part number. Look up
It's
the
not.
part number on that thing.
I did,
It
and
would
it's
work.
not.
For the
would work.
650.
Look here. Dyna.
Well, they don't think it
2000.
would work, but I
No,
know
the
it would
people who
work.
build it, they don't believe it'll work, but Nick's right. Yeah.
That's a fucking engineer for you, right? Electric engineer.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm looking at this fucking bike with bare wires hanging out.
How many,
Yeah.
how
and a
many
fucking
ways?
blown-up head.
How
The
many
trigger-
ways can you
right.
build a
Fuck is this
four-cylinder
shit over
engine?
here?
So the trigger
This is an
timing is
awesome
wrong.
bike. I love this
So there
bike.
you go. Yeah. The first
Don't
problem,
disparage
Dyna does
my
not.
boy.
Okay, ready? Here we go, guys.
oh.
The first problem, Dyna does not make a trigger plate that is the correct timing or diameter as the CB650s. The
Okay.
dual overhead cam plate was measured about 3 or 4 times after removing all parts, and the corresponding bolt patterns were drilled into an old CB650 timing plate. See, it doesn't fucking work.
No, but
because
they're saying a dual cam Dyna.
they tried to
plate.
actually. They couldn't make it work with the one that was supposed to work. They tried a 750 and it doesn't work. So what they did was that is that particular one. But here we go.
Why
with-
am I defending this product?
I don't even understand why you're doing it because really, yeah. But
You're
I
just
do not.
defending
I'm
yourself.
gonna say that according to Dyna's own catalog says that the CB650 is different, and my experience as a mechanic has been that a CB650 is different.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, it's like a 350.
I admit defeat.
And it's like a 350 and a 450.
Yeah. They're
Well,
not.
no,
remotely
those
the same.
are the same.
No, they're not.
Well, they aren't.
No, they're not.
One's got
Timing
torsion
cam,
bar,
chain tension. The other one's got torsion bars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's talking about twins.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
twins.
twins.
No. I was thinking
didn't make a
350 and
454.
400. Oh, you're right. You're
Yeah.
right. Never mind.
They made
I don't
a
know what I'm
CB
talking about.
400.
No, it's okay.
And the CB450 is a dual overhead cam versus a single
Guys,
overhead cam.
I do not know what I'm talking
Any
about.
idiot would know that.
I don't own a
When we're
lot
done
of
shitting
Hondas.
on Matt Davidson, we'll all line up to shit on Nick.
I own a lot of Suzukis, and I'm
is
not
the
even good at
Honda
that.
end.
Nick
This
who
is the
builds
Honda
shit
end of
I
the
don't
table.
understand, by the way.
Matt
You're
Davidson,
dealing
to
with the
clarify.
Honda end of the table.
Did I
here.
earn my titties or what?
I think he did. And by the way, Matt Davidson should send you some titties. The best titties on his phone.
Only single overhead cam titties.
No.
I don't care what kind of titty.
We'll be the judge of that. We'll be the judge if
Thank
they're
you.
the best.
We'll be the judge of that. Well, I don't know how we can make this podcast any better. I feel like we've held things up to the old level. I feel like the Zoom has been cleansed. Right? Do you guys feel like that we've cleansed the
I
Zoom?
hate the Zoom.
I know.
I like
Come on
to
in,
zoom, but I
come
don't
on
like
in,
to zoom.
come on
I like
in,
to zoom.
I miss seeing those two grab each other's boobs
I
all
like
the
to
time.
zoom,
you know,
zoom, and a
they're-
boom, boom.
Oh my God, whitest podcast ever. All right. So,
Shake it, baby, shake it,
anybody got
baby,
anything
shake it.
else?
If anybody, well, they're not going to hear this, but if you're on the road tomorrow, you might see us. We'll be riding south.
No, they're not going to see you.
So
Not unless they're right. Not unless
They'll
you're
say,
riding
"Hey,
on Monday
I
or
think
Tuesday or Wednesday,
Cinch went
maybe."
past there."
I think we're
last
gonna
week.
be if you're listening right now, we're gonna be broken down slightly south of Canton.
And Nick will be on the long walk home.
I will break my 6.5
Nick is better at
mile
pushing
record.
motorcycles than anybody else I know.
9 miles from Nick's house.
Oh my God.
We'll see if there's an explosion of the COVID after this podcast.
That's right.
Podcast.
Oh my God. I see a
I
very
hope not.
localized explosion of
You're
COVID.
safe. Fuck you.
I've already had it. So at least the Veterans
I
Administration.
haven't rubbed up against you enough. I'm,
Right, you're going to some
I'll save that for after the
against
podcast.
me,
Take some of that
so I'm going to
plasma?
get it.
Yeah.
Bump.
All right, guys, that's it. Ride fast and take chances. Let it play. Press the red button.